Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto changes after Sasuke retrieval council bashing. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by JIRAIYA 561 and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. After the battle, Naruto was in the hospital room with bandages all over his body, thinking about the promise he made to Sakura and that he didn't bring Sasuke back like he promised. The door opened and Shikamaru walked in the room and sat beside him. "How you holding up, man?" said Shikamaru. "I'm okay, I was just thinking about the promise I made to Sakura," said Naruto, lowering his head. "Naruto, Sasuke almost killed you with a Chidori and you thinking about a stupid promise of bringing back the person who wanted to kill you," snapped Shikamaru. Just then Sakura walked in the room. "Sakura-chan, I'm sorry," said Naruto, but he was cut off with Sakura hitting him over the head. "What the fuck was that for you, bitch?" yelled Shikamaru. "The first time I asked you for anything and you couldn't do it, I knew you couldn't defeat Sasuke-kun. You're not strong enough to defeat Sasuke-kun. You always were weaker than him," holding him back yelled Sakura. "Sakura-chan, I promise I will bring him back," thought Naruto through all the pain. Shikamaru looked at her with disgust and said, "And you was strong enough not to hold him back." At least Naruto never waited for things to be handed to him. He worked hard for everything. "I'm sure Sasuke team told you that he wasn't the one who saved you from Gaara. Naruto didn't bring Sasuke back because he held back since he didn't want to kill the jerk." "That's not true, Naruto can never beat Sasuke-kun," yelled Sakura. "Sakura-chan," said Naruto to himself. "She never believed that I could bring him back," thought Naruto. "I'm sure Gaara wants to know what you said," snapped Shikamaru. "Sasuke-kun can beat that crazy monster," yelled Sakura. "Why didn't he then? Where is he now?" yelled Shikamaru. Sakura ran out the room crying. Jiraiya suddenly appeared by the window and saw Naruto's wound bleeding. He looked at Shikamaru demanding an answer since he didn't know what could have made the wound to open up again. Shikamaru looked at Naruto then at Jiraiya and started crying. "Call for a nurse," yelled Jiraiya. "I," answered Shikamaru before he called for a nurse. The nurse sealed the wound once more and walked out the room. "Okay, what happened?" said Jiraiya, calming down. "That bitch Sakura hit him," said Shikamaru with venom when he said Sakura. "Don't call Sakura-chan a bitch," said Naruto still in pain. "Shut the fuck up, idiot," yelled Jiraiya. "What?" said Naruto. "She almost killed you after you almost got killed by a promise you made to her. You think she would like if you brought the team, who she's been in love with since you was in the academy. Stop thinking that you can make everyone happy," said Jiraiya. "You can't keep every fucking promise you make. This is not a joke, this is your life. Not just that you're a ninja, you don't let your emotions cloud your judgment. You keep following that bitch like she's something. Tell me one time you asked her out that she didn't hit you. Tell me one time that she supported you. Tell me one time that she agreed with you over the Uchiha, even if you was right." Tell, yelled Jiraiya, getting angrier by the second. "Naruto, what I'm trying to say is that the Uchiha left on his own free will, just like Orochimaru team did. I promised to bring him back too, but I gave up on that promise the moment he tried to kill me. Sasuke wants to kill his brother and he will do anything to do that. You must make a choice now, protecting your friends or devoting your life to follow around the Uchiha," said Jiraiya serious. "I will protect my friends," said Naruto smiling. "Orochimaru will teach Sasuke all kinds of forbidden jutsus to make sure he's strong. I will make you stronger than him, but you be focused on your training," said Jiraiya with determination in his eyes. "You was so blinded by your love for Sakura that you never saw that Hyuga princess following you," said Shikamaru smiling. "You really are den," said Shikamaru. "What do you mean following me?" said Naruto confused. "Don't you ever see that see faints and stutter around you only," said Shikamaru. "She loves you, Gaki," yelled Jiraiya, slapping him on the back of his head. "What? SSSSS he Lolo loves me," stuttered Naruto, banging his head in his hand. "Now that I think about it, it was always obvious," thought Naruto. "You deaf," said Naruto. "I got to talk to her before I go," said Naruto. "Before you go, where?" asked Shikamaru. "I'm making Naruto my apprentice," said Jiraiya, looking at the lazy kid in front of him. "I'll be right back, I have something to check," said Jiraiya, getting up. "And Shikamaru, meet us tomorrow before we leave," said Jiraiya as he disappeared in a puff of smokes. Elsewhere, the council was in an uproar, partly because they knew what had happened and who had won and who had lost. "We should have never trusted him," one of the members yelled. He was one of the 5 civilian members of the council. "He has always been a menace to this village and it's probably his fault that Sasuke left." The other 4 civilians backed him up with a collective yell of approval. "Don't you dare say that," another member yelled. Inuzuka Tsume, a feral-looking woman with wild brown hair and twin red fang marks along her cheeks. "He has done nothing but love this village. He has been nothing but a role model for my son and he has nothing but a good heart. He's a demon," another civilian cried. Silence. This time, Chaozu of the Akimichi clan spoke. "My son Chaoji also sees him a great friend. What demon would even care for a child? He's the fox. Aren't foxes known for being the slyest creatures on the earth? He is probably poisoning you and your children against the village." A third civilian member called out. "This is so troublesome. Narashikaku mumbled. Are you too arrogant and ignorant to know the difference between a sealing scroll and the object sealed in it? Oh, shut up you ninja freaks. A fourth and less controlled civilian member of the council yelled. You cannot deny that the fox has an influence over the boy, it is written on his face, as evidenced by the whisker marks. He may not be the actual fox, but he's still the body of it, said the same civilian member of the council. Abiram Shibe remained silent, but under his cool exterior, his blood was boiling. Freaks, huh? You want to see a freak, just look in the mirror. Any man who won't let a boy have a chance in his own home is worse than dirt. Yamanaka Inoichi voiced Shibe's thoughts. You are an idiot. If Naruto really was the fox in a human body, he would have destroyed the village years ago. He's a fox in a human's clothing. The fifth member of the civilians said, he's only selling the deception by acting like he cares. Acting like he cares, huh? Why would he do that when he could have killed all who treated him bad already, yelled Inoichi, glaring at the council member. Only 3 members of the council didn't speak: Shibe, who would not speak because of his cool demeanor, Danzo, an old warhawk who was trying to find a way to have this play to his advantage, and Hyuga Hiashi, who was trying to figure out where he himself stood with the boy. Hinata loves him, that is simply unacceptable, he thought, and yet here's something about him even helped Nejibit still, getting close to my daughter is dangerous. Order. Tsunade, the Goddamn Hokage, yelled over the din of the voices. I will have order, yelled Tsunade once again. The council members began to quiet down. When silence was achieved, Tsunade began. This petty arguing is not why this meeting was called. We came here to discuss what we are to do about Uchiha Sasuke. Danzo, that shrewd and sly snake of a man, spoke up. We should punish the one responsible for his leaving and send more experienced ninjas after him. Tsunade instantly went on guard. What do you mean by the one responsible? I am only agreeing with Tanausha-san, moron, it is probably Naruto's influence that led to Sasuke's leaving, said Danzo with no emotion. The clan leaders, excluding Shibe and Hiashi, yelled in anger. How dare you even suggest that? Tsum yelled. The civilian members, on the other hand, agreed with Danzo. Yeah. Let's execute him. Tsunade cried for order again. Once the silence returned, she stared down Danzo. You have no proof of this, I can't and will not accept the idea of punishing him. I'm sorry, Hokage-sama, but you honestly have no say in the matter. The law states that if 1/3 of the council agrees to a motion, then it must be taken to a vote, and as you can see, half of the council is agreeing to the motion, said Kaharu, one of her advisors. Tsunade cursed under her breath. Alright, but first of all, we won't kill him. I will never accept a boy with such a good record to be killed under my reign. The worst I'll ever allow you to do is exile him, Tsunade said. Fair enough, I suppose we should reward the boy's kindness towards the village with letting him leave with his life, but if her ever comes within 5 miles of Konoha, we have the authority to treat him as a missing nin, said Hamura. Tsunade glared at him, however she was confident that this would never happen. She knew that the clan heads would vote for Naruto to stay, while the civilians would vote for him to leave, ending in a tie, and as the law stated, in the case of a tie, the Hokage got to give his or her say. Very well, Danzo. I agree to your terms. All those in favor in exiling Uzumaki Naruto, raise your hand. The civilians raised their hands, and Danzo. All in favor of not exiling the boy who defeated the Shukaku during the invasion, brought back the 5th Hokage. Raise your hand, said Tsum. And all the shinobi side of the council raised their hands. So it's decided, Naruto will not be exiled, said Tsunade, smiling. And do you not know of his heritage, said Tsunade, smiling. Danzo stood up. Hokage-sama, Naruto was an orphan, he has no heritage. Tsunade smiled. This only proves to me that Sandaime didn't trust you at all, Danzo, because Naruto does have a heritage and it is beyond that of anyone here. What? Is Naruto an Uchiha? Danzo asked mockingly, and several laughs erupted from the civilian members. What Naruto is puts the Uchihas to shame, a voice said. They all turned to the source of it to see Jiraiya, back from his meeting with Naruto. In fact, Naruto belongs to a clan so great that even the last member of the clan was held in the highest honor, said Jiraiya, glaring at the old warhawk. Who could that be? Jiraiya-san. Danzo said, sarcasm dripping from the question. Look at him, the way he acts, his smile, just look at him. You idiot. So troublesome, said Shikaku, going back to sleep. Jiraiya smiled. Naruto belongs to the Namikaze line, the line of Yondaime Hokage. What? Naruto is the son of the 4th Hokage, yelled Tsum, laughing. What, shrieked a woman with pink hair in the civilian side of the council. What, are you deaf, Banshee, said Jiraiya, holding his ears. How can this be, thought Danzo, thinking about the situation. Now he can make the perfect weapon with those powerful jutsus of his father, thought Danzo. How dare you say that the demon is the son of our fallen hero, yelled another civilian council member. If he wasn't his father's son, this village would be destroyed already, said Hiashi, remembering his late friend Minato. So, I say he does community service for his punishment, said Danzo with a smirk. Punishment for what, yelled Hiashi, getting angry now that he knew about Naruto's heritage. For putting his life on line to save the village, over and over, yelled Inoi's dad. No, for failing his mission, said Hamura, the advisor. No can do, we going on a training trip, said Jiraiya smirking. He cannot leave the village yet, I will train him, said Danzo looking at the toad sage. Looking for a weapon again, said Hiashi smirking. I also believe that he shouldn't leave the village, said Hamura looking at Danzo. You just voted to exile him a few minutes ago, Shibi finally snapped. There was instant silence. Naruto was the son of the greatest ninja in the world, and you was about to exile the heir to the greatest clan in the world, said Tsunade looking at everybody laughing. When are you leaving, Jiraiya, said Tsunade. Tomorrow morning, and Sakura almost killed Naruto in the hospital, said Jiraiya disappearing in a puff of smokes. What, yelled Tsunade, releasing an insane amount of killing intent directed at the pink-haired council member in the corner. Well, there was an even larger released by Tsume, Choza, and Hiashi. Lady Tsunade, please calm down, I can't sleep with all this killing intent in the room, said Shikaku smiling. Tsunade calmed down and looked at the council smiling. I'll make her pay for messing with one of the closest thing I have to a family, thought Tsunade. I will be giving the girls medical training. That includes Hinata Hyuga, Ino Yamanaka, Tenten, and Sakura Haruno, said Tsunade, putting a bit of venom when she said Sakura's name. You need to start giving the boys more advanced training to protect themselves, because with Orochimaru training the Uchiha, you don't know what kind of forbidden jutsu he's teaching him. And with Naruto training with the strongest of the three Sannin, he needs strong teammates, said Tsunade. Hi, the Shinobi's council members answered. And I thought Orochimaru was the strongest of the three Sannins, said a civilian looking at Tsunade. Jiraiya can defeat myself and Orochimaru together, he's just too much of a pervert to give a shit about anything, but those he loves, said Tsunade thinking about her teammate. But I see you beat him up all the time, said Hiashi. Troublesome. My wife is a chunin and she beat me up every time I do something stupid. The strongest of shinobis are weak against a person they love, said Shikaku getting up to leave. Dismiss, said Tsunade before she left. But Sakura was in her room crying thinking about her precious Sasuke-kun and what happened with Naruto. Sasuke left her in the village alone, maybe she should have left with him. Sasuke-kun, why did you leave knowing that I loved you, thought Sakura. Naruto will bring you back to me, I know it, thought Sakura. He never goes back on his words, he was always there for me, thought Sakura. I will bring you back, Sasuke-kun, said Sakura to herself. I should apologize to Naruto first, said Sakura out loud. But Naruto and Shikamaru was sitting in the room playing shogi. Naruto was still waiting for Jiraiya since he wanted to know how long he was going to be gone. He was also thinking of his past actions and what happened to his friends and also what Sakura did to him. The door opened to reveal Kakashi with the orange book in his face. Yo, waved Kakashi with an eye smile. Kakashi-sensei, what's up, said Naruto. Naruto, how are you doing, said Kakashi putting the book away. My student almost killed my other student with a jutsu I taught him, thought Kakashi as he sighed. Shikamaru looked at Kakashi before greeting him. Hey Kakashi-sensei, said Shikamaru. Yo, said Kakashi waving to him. I'm okay, sensei, said Naruto. You heard I was leaving on training trip with Hiro Sennin, said Naruto smiling. No, when, said Kakashi surprised. I don't know yet, said Naruto. Make sure you come back strong now you're here. Gotta go, said Kakashi as he disappeared in a puff of smokes. Jiraiya appeared outside the window of Naruto's hospital room in a puff of smokes. He got in through the window and sat on the bed. Aki, you're going to see your friends before you leave, said Jiraiya smiling. We leave tomorrow morning, said Jiraiya. Naruto got up and quickly got dressed. He wanted to see his other comrades before he left, like Neji, Choji, Kiba, and especially Hinata. Okay, Hiro Sennin, I'll see you in the morning, said Naruto waving to him. Quit calling me that brat, yelled Jiraiya. Never, yelled Naruto back. Naruto and Shikamaru walked out of the room heading to Choji's room to see their good friend. They opened the door to the room and walked in the room smiling, talking about the mission. Shikamaru looked at Choji and saw that he was already back to his original weight and was eating some chips. Choji laid on the bed with a big stack of chips by his side. Choji, what's up, body, yelled Naruto as soon as he entered the room. So energetic already. Troublesome, murmured Shikamaru. Naruto, Shika, what's up, said Choji as he ate. Nothing, we just walking around so that Naruto can't say his goodbyes, said Shikamaru. It's troublesome, you know, he said. Where are you going, Naruto, said Choji. On a training trip with Hiro Sennin. So you guys better get stronger, because when I come back I'm going to be stronger than ever. Believe it, said Naruto with determination in his eyes. Yeah, said Choji. It's getting late, I have to pack my stuff. Tell let's see Ino, Neji, Kiba, Shino, Lee, Tenten, and Hinata to come see me off by the west gates tomorrow morning. Oh, and Gaara and his family too, said Naruto running out the room. He forgot to mention Sakura, said Choji confused. He didn't forget, I'll explain later, said Shikamaru looking at his friend. With Jiraiya jumped in the Hokage office through the window and stood in front of Tsunade, who was sleeping on her desk. Drool was everywhere and she was snoring loudly. Jiraiya hit the desk and she woke up and threw a punch at him, which he easily dodged. She looked at him with anger on her face. "What the hell do you want?" Baka yelled. "Tsunade, keep it down. If you wasn't sleeping on the job, I wouldn't have to wake you up," said Jiraiya smirking. "What do you want?" Baka said, Tsunade calming down a little. "I came for Naruto's stuff," said Jiraiya. "Just go get them. I never stopped you from doing what you want before," yelled Tsunade. "Yes?" Tsunade-sama smirked Jiraiya. "Don't call me that," said Tsunade. "Lady Tsunade," smirked Jiraiya again. "Stop it," Baka yelled. Tsunade. Okay, what are you going to do with Kakashi, since he don't really have a team anymore," said Jiraiya. "Anbu had until Naruto comes back," said Tsunade. "And when Naruto becomes a chunin he'll go back," said Tsunade. "Okay," said Jiraiya, walking away. Jiraiya touched the wall and took a box out and walked back past Tsunade and opened the window. "See you in 3 years' time. Don't miss me too much now, okay," said Jiraiya smirking. "Not in your dreams, pervert," said Tsunade. Jiraiya then disappeared in a puff of smokes. "I will miss you," Jiraiya thought. Tsunade. The next day, in front of the gates of the Hidden Leaf Village were standing multiple shinobis. Neji, Hinata, Kiba, Ino, Shikamaru, Choji, Lee, Tenten, the Konohamaru Corps, the Sand Siblings, Guy, Kakashi, Kurenai, Shizune, and the Hokage of the village was present to see the blonde ninja off. Naruto and Jiraiya was walking slowly toward the ninjas. Naruto had his backpack on and his hands was behind his head. The two finally made it and stopped in front of them. "Well, I think this is goodbye for now, huh," said Naruto, scratching the back of his head. "I know all of you will become strong while I'm not around, make sure you are," said Naruto with a glee of determination in his eyes. "I'm really sorry I let all of you down during the mission. Neji, you will become strong if you willing to work with others like on that retrieval mission. Lee, I know you will let nothing stand in your way of being a true Taijutsu master. Ino, you let that bastard take all your time, and now that he's gone, you should take your training more seriously. And Shikamaru, you're strong and smart, but you're too freaking lazy, but that's what make yourself you right. Choji, make sure Shikamaru trains. And Ino, keep them alive," said Naruto, walking toward Hinata smiling, and she started turning red. Speech of a true leader, thought all the jonins. Naruto started to whisper in Hinata's ear, "Hinata-chan, when I come back, would you mind going on a date with me?" I, Naruto-kun, answered Hinata softly. "Just make sure you're not taken when I come back, okay," said Naruto smirking. "Naruto-kun just asked me out," yelled Hinata in her mind. "And he called me Hinata-chan." She was jumping around in her mind. "Konohamaru Nai-san," said Naruto. "Make sure you train hard, okay?" "Oh, I got something to show you when I get back," said Naruto. "Yes, boss," yelled Konohamaru. "Then here I go," said Naruto. "I'm going to get strong enough to protect everyone. I will be Hokage one day," said Naruto. Kakashi walked up to him and handed him a scroll, smiling. "I was supposed to teach those to you." "I'm sorry," he said, walking away. "Thanks, Kakashi-sensei, it's okay, Obito will still be proud of you," said Naruto, smiling as he put the scroll in his pocket. "Okay, Bachan, take care of the village," said Naruto. "See you all later," said Naruto. "Hey Gaara, let's go, Iro-senin has to talk to you," said Naruto. Gaara and Jiraiya walked out the gates with Naruto, Temari, and Kankaro behind them, but unable to hear what they were saying. Gaara and Jiraiya. "Okay, what I'm going to tell should stay between us only," said Jiraiya. "HN," answered Gaara. "There's this group who call themselves Akatsuki who goes after the Jinchuriki. I don't know what they plan to do with them, but I know they're all S-class missing nins. They travel 2 at a time, so that's why I'm training Naruto to take care of himself. You are very good with the sand, but you need to expand your skills," said Jiraiya. "Huh," said Gaara. "You have many weaknesses. First is that you're too slow, you really need to work on your speed. Don't get me wrong, Naruto is slow as hell, that's why I will make all-around shinobi except for Jinjutsu, since neither one of yous has any talent for it. 2 is that you only use the sand-style ninjutsu, and 3 is that I hear the demon keep talking in your head when you fight," said Jiraiya. "I got the perfect solution," said Jiraiya, thinking about it. "Travel with me and the brat for 2 months and I can help you out," said Jiraiya, smirking. "Okay," said Gaara. "Temari, please tell the council that I will be back in 2 months and that it's not a paying mission," said Gaara in his monotone voice, looking at his sister. "Okay," said the two as they sunshined out of the area. "Naruto, Gaara will be traveling with us for 2 months. We'll be going to the desert for your speed training," said Jiraiya to Naruto, who was really happy of the news. "Yippee," yelled Naruto, jumping around. As Naruto, Jiraiya and the Sand siblings walked away from the gates of Konoha, there was an unusual silence between the warriors left their birthplace. Naruto was lost in thought, trying to grasp what was being asked of him. First, he was going to leave the only home he had ever known for 3 years. Second, he was going to have grown strong enough to defeat an organization of S-class shinobi known as Akatsuki. Finally, he was going to grow strong enough to defeat Sasuke and save himself from himself. Each of these tasks could be overwhelming for anyone, let alone a 13-year-old boy. He kept thinking about what Jiraiya said about Sakura and Orochimaru with Sasuke, and he knew that everything was true, even if he didn't want to accept that fact about his best friend and teammates. But Tsunade exhaled a heavy sigh as she poured another cup of sake and then drank it in one fell swoop before slamming the cup back onto her desk in disgust. standing up to walk out onto her balcony and gaze over the village in the setting sun. She could only shake her head in frustration as she relived the day's events in her mind. Turning around and going back to her desk, Tsunade grabbed the sake bottle once more and began pouring another cup of her most treasured elixir when a voice rang out behind her, startling the blonde Hokage. The yellow-head boy just left the village for 3 years. Kakashi was standing in the office looking at Tsunade, but he made sure that he didn't take out the Icha book. Tsunade looked at him and smiled. "Kakashi, since you currently don't have a team, I will make you head of the Anbu," said Tsunade. "You mean head of the whole Anbu division," said Kakashi. "Yes, I will be the only one above you." "That makes you my right-hand man," said Tsunade. "And when Naruto comes back," asked Kakashi, thinking over the situation. "You'll be put back in Team 7 with a new member replacing Uchiha Sasuke," said Tsunade. "What will happen with Sakura?" said Kakashi. "She almost finished the job on Naruto at the hospital," said Tsunade with anger in her eyes. "You can't mean," said Kakashi with his eyes widened. "Yes, she hit him and reopened the wound. But I will train all the rookie Kunoichis in medical ninjutsu," said Tsunade. "Okay, you know what to do," said Tsunade as he threw Kakashi his old dog Anbu mask. "Hi. Hokage-sama," said Kakashi, catching the mask. But Sakura. After Naruto left, everybody was standing outside the hospital talking when Sakura walked up heading toward Naruto's room. The only one who knew about what Sakura did to Naruto was Shikamaru and Choji, the others didn't know yet. Ino saw Sakura coming and called her over. "Where are you going, forehead girl?" said Ino. "I'm going to see Naruto in the hospital," said Sakura. "Where the hell have you been?" "Naruto left the village with Jiraiya-sama," said Ino. "What? Why didn't he tell me?" yelled Sakura. "Why the hell do you think, you bitch?" yelled Shikamaru, who was sitting in the back. "What's your problem, Shikamaru?" yelled Ino. "Oh, you don't know, me and Naruto was sitting in the room talking about the mission when Sakura walked in the room." Naruto tried to explain what happened to her, but she wouldn't listen to what he had to say and just hid and reopened the wound on his chest. If he was alone in the room with no one to call a nurse, he would have died. And she just ran out the room crying like she was a victim because the Uchiha jerk wasn't back, said Shikamaru, looking straight at Sakura with a bored and angry expression. "What?" yelled everybody except Choji, who already knew. "Is that true, Sakura?" asked Ino, looking at his fries. "I was angry at the time," Sakura said in her defense. Hinata was looking at her with her Byakugan active with so much hate in her eyes. "Because you was angry, that gives you a reason to almost kill a teammate," said Ino, looking at her disappointed. "I hit Naruto like that all the time, he never got mad. Why are you guys making this a big deal?" said Sakura, looking at them. "Because he almost got killed by the one person he considered a brother," said Kakashi, appearing in front of them, looking at Sakura with disappointment in his eyes. "When you hit Naruto over Sasuke, it's not the physical pain that hurt him, it's the fact that he would give his life for you and you treat him like he doesn't even exist," said Kakashi, looking at her. "How do you feel when Sasuke reject you?" asked Kakashi, looking at her. I said Sakura, crying. "Exactly," said Kakashi, leaving them. "Naruto left, he didn't even tell. I'm sure he'll be asking for a date when he comes back," said Sakura to herself to make herself feel better about the fact that he didn't tell her he was leaving. Chapter 2. The 2 months result. The Toad Sage was likewise in deep thought, processing how much his life had changed. First, he found out that the son of his favorite pupil and one of the greatest ninjas in the history of the 5 elemental nations, Minato Namikaze, was almost killed by a power-hungry Uchiha going to his former best friend. Second, his sensei lost his life to his former best friend. Finally, he realized that powerful organization, Akatsuki, threatened the elemental nations, and he had to protect and train one knuckleheaded, unpredictable ninja to fuck up this organization's plans. So where do we start? Naruto has so much room to improve in that it's almost overwhelming. Currently, in regards to ninjutsu, he is effective in summoning Kage Bushins, and he is a fair control on the Rasengan. Moreover, in Taijutsu, he is more of a brawler than having a refined style or two. With regards to Jinjutsu, we may be starting in a hole since Naruto's chakra control is so shaky. Finally, as a strategist, Naruto's in-battle adjustments are phenomenal, but he still lacks enough control to have sized up his opponents or surroundings. He usually attacks first and just adjusts later, but against the kinds of opponents that he will face, that will not cut it. Jiraiya sized up his pupil and just wondered how much research that he could get done on this trip with this kind of work. And Naruto made it to the border and saw Jiraiya sitting on a rock working on a seal. Jiraiya got up when he saw the 2 exhausted teens. He put the seal in his pocket and looked at them. They didn't have no look of fatigue in their face. That was one good advantage of carrying a demon inside you. Jiraiya looked at Gaara and smiled. "Okay, you 2 get some rest, we're not done yet," said Jiraiya. "Gaara, would you mind turning some sand into a little resting place? I'll take care of the rest," said Jiraiya. Gaara manipulated the sand into a solid 3 large bedroom place with a bathroom in each room. Jiraiya put a seal in each of the rooms and the little sand house had electricity in it. He went to the bathroom and a seal, which then gave each bathroom a little sewage system. He went behind the house and did some quick hand seals, then said Doten. Doryuja Heki Earth style. Earth flow rampart and a large rig rose from the ground. He did some other quick hand seal then said Suiton. Taketsubo no jutsu water style. Waterfall basin and created a waterfall behind the house. Naruto, Gaara, I want you to answer a question for me as honestly as you can. Jiraiya said in a serious manner that caught their attentions. I want you to analyze yourself as a warrior and tell me what we should work on. Jiraiya said in a serious manner. Naruto put a hand behind his head and thought about this question. Well Lee Rosenin, I think that my taijutsu is solid, but I am definitely not on the level of someone like Lee. I think that I am horrible at genjutsu. I think that I have a few good jutsus, but I could always use some more diversity. He finished his analysis waiting for his sensei to respond. Gaara thought about for a few seconds before he started talking. Well, I don't have any good taijutsu skill because I mostly use the sand in battle. I know only sand-based ninjutsu and I know a lot of them, so I'd say that my ninjutsu is okay. And finally, I don't have any speed because of the gourd and the fact that I don't do any speed training. I'd say I'm very slow. Jiraiya nodded. Naruto, I agree with what you said and it is important for a great shinobi to honestly analyze inwardly to determine your weaknesses. Those ninja who cannot see past their strengths only ignore their weaknesses. Remember that you break a chain at its weakest link, so to improve your weaknesses makes you a stronger warrior. Naruto nodded as he understood that his sensei was right. You too Gaara said Jiraiya looking at the boy. Jiraiya stopped and he found a rock near the path and sat down. He motioned for Naruto to sit down next to him. He wanted Naruto to pay attention to what he was about to explain. I think that you have learned some great techniques like Rasengan and shadow clones, but we definitely need to work on diversifying your techniques. I think we will need to explore improving your arsenal and also fully developing out all your techniques to the fullest expression. It is not enough to know a bunch of jutsu if you cannot creatively apply it. Your taijutsu is more of a brawler style and we will need to explore how to refine it so you can inflict more damage without having to take such a direct beating. In regards to your genjutsu, I am not going to be naive enough to believe that you will be able to cast them, but we have to make you an expert in detecting and dispelling them. Gaara, since I never seen you fight before, I'm going to take your word for it. You have a big sand-based jutsu arsenal, so we mostly going to work on your speed and taijutsu to make sure you don't rely on that sand so much in case you lose it one day, explained Jiraiya looking at the kid. The sand village is not far from here, let's go buy some sleeping and some training equipments, said Jiraiya walking toward the village. I have some training equipments at my house, I'll get them, said Gaara in his usual no emotion attitude. That's great, here seal them in this, said Jiraiya as he threw a storage scroll to him. Aki, let's go, said Jiraiya. The three walked to Suna and arrived by the gates. The guard saw them with Gaara and let them in. Jiraiya and Naruto walked toward the market district while Gaara walked body flickered to the Kazukiage tower. Jiraiya went to a store and bought 3 full bed sets, soap, vegetables and rice and sealed them in a storage scroll. Naruto took about 100 cups of instant ramen, but Jiraiya quickly stopped him. Is that all you eat, said the old Sannin. Kind of, said Naruto. You can only take 20, that stuff is stopping you from growing properly. That's why you're the shorts of your comrades, said Jiraiya smirking. Naruto put 80 ramen cups back and seals the rest in the storage scroll after he paid for them. They walked out the store and went to find Gaara waiting for them by the entrance of the village. Naruto glared at Jiraiya carrying only 20 instant ramen cup. Jiraiya looked at him and smiled. They all walked back to their little house to start some serious training. Jiraiya was smirking. Gaara unpacked everything he had in the sealing scrolls and put them on the ground. He brought 2 sets of training weights, some weapons and 2 jutsu scrolls. Okay, Gaara, take off the gourd and put it on the ground, said Jiraiya. Why? Iro-senin, said Gaara absently. Don't call me that, yelled Jiraiya angry. That's what Naruto calls you, said Gaara. What? Gaki, this is all your fault, said Jiraiya glaring at Naruto. Anyway, I created a seal so that you can carry your sand in this pouch, said Jiraiya, showing Gaara the little pouch. Said Gaara confused. It will work just like the gourd, it's just easier to carry, said Jiraiya. They put all the sand that was in the gourd and some extra sand in the little pouch and it remained the same size and the same weight. Gaara put it on his back and started to call on the sand and it worked just like it would for the gourd. It was hot as hell since it was a desert after all. They all took their cloths off except for their pants. Okay, you will start with 20 pounds of weight on your body, said Jiraiya as he gave each of them a 20-pound set. You will run on the sand with the weights and using your chakra not to sink, said Jiraiya with evil glee. If that's for calling you a pervert, I'm sorry, sensei, said Naruto with some fake tears. Too late, said Jiraiya with a smirk. The two started to do the exercise, but Naruto couldn't get it since he wasn't used to the sand, but Gaara got on the first since he's been traveling on sand his whole life. Naruto tried and tried but couldn't get it down. Gaara finished the exercise and went to get some rest, which to him was just sitting down. Naruto tried again, but this time he started to run. The problem is it was already getting dark when he got it. Let's call it a day, said Jiraiya. Naruto quickly did a cross shape with his fingers and said and created 5 shadow clones. "Okay, guys, you know what to do," said Naruto to the clones. "Hi," said the clones in unison before they started running on the sand. Naruto went inside to take a shower while the clones was running on the sand. Naruto finished taking a shower. He went to sleep to be ready for the next day. Jiraiya woke up in the middle of the night to get some workout done when he saw Gaara outside just sitting there looking at the moon. "Why are you not sleeping?" said Jiraiya. "If I sleep, the demon inside will take over my body," said Gaara. "Let me see the seal," said Jiraiya. Gaara showed him the seal and Jiraiya analyzed the seal to see how he could fix it. "Get ready tomorrow, I'll redo your seal," said Jiraiya with a smile. "Yes. So then I can finally sleep?" asked Gaara. "Yes," said Jiraiya. "Thank you, Jiraiya-sama," said Gaara. "Naruto, I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you in the first few years of your life. I promise I will make up for it." "Minato, I'm sorry," said Jiraiya to himself. "I promise to be here when you need me," thought Jiraiya again. "I promise," and with that Jiraiya went for his unnatural workout routine. Jiraiya did 1,000 push-ups, then he did 1,000 sit-ups, followed by 1 lap around the desert before he went back to sleep. The next day, they woke up the next day and Naruto prepared breakfast for everybody and surprisingly it wasn't any ramen. The 3 ate their breakfast and each of them took a shower to get ready for the training day. Gaara walked outside happy because finally he would get rid of the voice in his mind. "Okay, Naruto, watch closely," said Jiraiya to the young Uzumaki. "Gaara, come here," said Jiraiya. Gaara walked toward him and took off his shirt to reveal the seal. Jiraiya told him to sit down and Jiraiya wrote down some seals from the ground to the seal on Gaara's right bicep. He then did some hand seals and placed his hand on the seal and Gaara screamed in pain while the markings Jiraiya drew on the ground went toward Gaara's seal. All the seal made it and a seal appeared on Gaara's previous seal. The new seal was now on the outline of the old seal. "All done," said Jiraiya. "Now to test it out, a spar with Naruto," said Jiraiya. Said Gaara confused. "How is this to test it out?" said Naruto also confused. "You see, when Gaara fights, as he told me, the demon keeps screaming in his mind," said Jiraiya. "Okay, both of you get ready. Give it all you got," said Jiraiya. Naruto and Gaara got in their stance. In that case they just stood there since neither of them knew any taijutsu style. Naruto because he was never properly taught a style and Gaara because he never really needed one. The sand surrounded Gaara and with that the match started. Naruto created 100 clones and sent them to attack, but all of them were getting destroyed. Naruto just kept making more and more clones, which was starting to annoy Gaara. Gaara started making the sand attack Naruto and Naruto kept trying to dodge but kept getting hit. Naruto then created another 100 clones and they all took out their shuriken. Gaara started doing some hand seals because Naruto did that against him before. "Now," said Naruto and all the clones threw the shurikens. Gaara finished his hand seals, then said sphere of sand and large wall of sand completely covers Gaara in a sphere shape. When the shurikens was stopped Gaara dropped the jutsu, but as soon as he did Naruto was in front him. Naruto punched Gaara and sent him a few yards back, but he didn't hit the ground since the sand stopped the fall. Naruto ran toward him to attack again, but the sand shot up and moved his hands, which gave Gaara the chance to punch him in the stomach. "Okay, stop," said Jiraiya. They both stopped and turned to face Jiraiya. "Good match, but both of you have a long way to go," said Jiraiya thinking about the battle. "Hi, yeah," said Naruto and Gaara. "Both of you need speed, which we're working on. Gaara, you need to learn more than just sand-based jutsus in case something happens to your sand. Gaara, I don't have any taijutsu style that suits you, but when you go back home, you need to master one," said Jiraiya. Then Gaara spoke up. "Jiraiya-sensei, I have a taijutsu scroll with me, can you help me with it?" said Gaara. "Of course, after the speed training, which we will finish in 1 more week," said Jiraiya. "Okay, start running. When you don't feel the weights, add 10 more pounds," said Jiraiya. With that, all 3 of them started running on the sand. A week later, Naruto and Gaara was now as fast as Lee with his weights on since all they did for the past week was run. Jiraiya on the other hand was as fast as Guy without his weights since he got bored and started running with them. They were all standing outside the house made by Gaara and was making a schedule for the day. "Okay, now for some taijutsu," said Jiraiya. Naruto started jumping up and down. Jiraiya created a shadow clone of himself and he went with Naruto while the clone went with Gaara. Gaara handed the shadow clone the scroll that he had and the clone started showing him the katas by doing them with him. Gaara got the katas since he's seen his sensei use it a bunch of time. "Okay, since you got it. Perform them with a little more speed each time," said the clone. "Okay," said Gaara. He started performing the katas of the style with a little more speed. "Naruto, I'm going to teach you one of the styles taught at the academy a while back," said Jiraiya. "You mean an academy style?" said Naruto disappointed. "No, before the Kyuubi attack, they don't really teach it and not many people use because of the name," said Jiraiya. "It's the fox style," said Jiraiya. He got in a stance with his legs wide along a straight line and his hand open. "Do it," said Jiraiya. Naruto got in the same stance. Jiraiya showed him the katas one by one. Now, do the katas again slowly, and after each time you performed all of them increase the speed, said Jiraiya. Naruto wanted to progress faster after thinking what kind of things that Orochimaru must be teaching Sasuke and put his fingers in a cross shape, then said Tajuwu Kage Bunshin no Jutsu multi-shadow clone jutsu and created 100 clones which started going over the katas also. The clones performed the katas at different speed while Naruto himself performed them at his maximum speed for the moment. You must completely master the style by the end of the month, said Jiraiya, while his clone said the same to Gaara. Gaara, do you know the wind clone jutsu, said the clone of Jiraiya. Yes, said Gaara. Create some to get you going faster, since like the shadow clones all the memories of the clones goes back to the original, said Jiraiya's clone. Gaara did the hand seals that he was taught by Baki and said Futon. Kage Bunshin no jutsu wind style. Wind clone jutsu and created 100 clones made of wind which started doing the katas along with him. Back in the hidden leaf, the 4 rookie Kunoichis was looking bad, but Sakura was looking the worst. They had to dodge a ball being kicked by Tsunade while practicing. The exercise was to increase their dodging abilities. Hinata got hit the fewest because she was the most flexible. Tenten got hit the fewest after Hinata because she wasted doing all those inhuman training with Lee and Guy. Ino was third because she wanted to prove herself to her teammates since she was the weakest out of her genin team. Sakura got hit the most because the whole time that Tsunade was kicking the ball, she didn't want to get her hair dirty, which made Tsunade extra pissed and kicked the ball so hard that it almost killed the pink-haired girl. Okay, now come here before we get to any other training you must increase your chakra reserve, said Tsunade smirking. For the next month you will work on that before you do any medical ninjutsu, said Tsunade. Lil lady T Tsunade, said Hinata shyly. Stop that stuttering stuff, Hinata, Naruto doesn't like that, smirked Tsunade. Hi, said Hinata. She completely stopped, thought the other girls. What does Naruto have to do with this, thought Sakura. Oh, yeah, she do have a crush on Naruto, too bad he likes me, thought Sakura. Little did she know that Naruto had changed before he left for his training trip. How do we increase our reserves, asked Hinata. Running up and down a tree using the climbing exercise until you run out, said Tsunade. Then rest and your reserve will increase, then do the same for the next month, said Tsunade. When your chakra is at least mid-chunin level, we will start with more advanced training, said Tsunade. Since you all have good control, your control will get a lot better, said Tsunade. Everyone in our academy class had average control, except for Naruto, said Sakura smirking. You know why, said Tsunade, releasing some killing intent directed at Sakura. She started shaking and Ino started laughing, holding her stomach. They all knew that Naruto's stamina was huge, how else could he create all those clones without even getting tired? It's because he has the most chakra out of everyone in the whole village. Not like that traitor, said Tsunade smirking, stopping the killing intent. Sakura fell to the ground, but she still felt like she had to stand up for her crush. But Sasuke-kun had the most, yelled Sakura. Just when she finished the sentence all of the girls' killing intent was directed at her, she was on the ground sweating again. Mention his name here again and you will be punished, said Tsunade with evil glee in her eyes. I'm sorry, Tsunade-sama, said Sakura, trying to get up. The girls got back to doing the exercise and Tsunade went back to her office. The girls were having fun, but neither of them was talking to Sakura. They all ran up the tree multiple times before taking a break, except for Hinata, who kept going. Back with Naruto. Naruto and Gaara spent the whole day learning the katas to their new taijutsu styles. The night came and the Ida pulled all the clones and he on the ground unconscious due to all the information he received from all the clones. Jiraiya picked them up and put them in their room. I should have told them about the effect of the clones, thought Jiraiya. He went to the nearest town to go get some food materials for the next day. Jiraiya came back with the foods and set them down. He took off his shirt and got ready for the unnatural workout he was about to do. Jiraiya proceeded to do the push-ups and sit-ups, then he went to sleep. The next day the boys created another 200 clones and started working on the speed of which they would perform the katas. Naruto finished and left the clones practicing while he went inside to get something to eat. He came back outside and dispelled all the clones, which gave him a headache for a quick minute. He then created a single clone with a lot of chakra so that it could last more than the usual one blow. Naruto and the clone got in the same stance and ran toward each other in Naruto's full speed. They were dodging and meeting each other blow to blow. The taijutsu used the palm to make powerful hits in fast movement. The clone threw a punch at Naruto, but he jumped and turned 360 degrees in midair and landed on all four. Naruto then proceeded to give the clone a powerful blow in the stomach. The clone threw a kick at the yellow-haired kid, but Naruto used his speed to dodge the kick. He jumped in the air again and landed a well-placed punch on the face of the clone, which dispelled it. "Good job, kid," said Jiraiya. "It's like, I already knew the style," said Naruto, a little confused. "You do have a fox sealed in you." "You know," joked Jiraiya. "That's probably the reason," laughed Naruto. "It seems you two mastered your styles sooner than I expected," said Jiraiya, thinking about what to do now. Okay, work on improving the styles. Naruto, you got the memory of the shadow clones back, so you know some of the flaws of the style. Try to find a way to remove those flaws by using your clones. Gaara, try to improve yours by using the sand to cover some of those flaws, said Jiraiya. The boys started working on improving their taijutsu. Gaara's sand was a great addition to the style because then he completed the flaws of the style. Naruto's clones just popped up whenever he couldn't dodge or was dodging. Okay, test it out, said Jiraiya. Spar straight taijutsu, said Jiraiya looking at them. Hajime, said Jiraiya. They both got in their respective stance and faced each other. Gaara was the first to attack, he punched Naruto and sent him flying up. Naruto did a flip in the air and was about to fall down on both his legs when Gaara's sand was coming toward him fast. Without doing the seal, a clone popped up beside him in the air and pulled him out the way. Naruto fell down on both his legs and quickly went to attack Gaara. The sand came up to protect Gaara, but Naruto disappeared and reappeared behind the red hair and hit him with a powerful palm in the back. The sand covering his back was destroyed by the palm. Some sand came from the little pouch and got in the form of a fist which punched Naruto when he was about to hit Gaara again. Naruto did 2 flips and put some distance between him and the redhead. Naruto got in the stance for his style and waited for Gaara to attack. The sand started to come at him. He jumped in the air and did a 360 degrees horizontal turn when Akamaru uses that dynamic marking thing, then fell to the ground on all 4. He used the momentum to disappear, then reappear in front of Gaara. The redhead threw a kick, but Naruto just did a flip and landed in all 4 again and rushed and punched Gaara before the sand could protect him. Gaara kicked him before falling and they both fell on the ground. Naruto got up and helped Gaara up. "Good job, you two got better than I expected," said Jiraiya with a smile. "Believe it, Iro-senin," said Naruto. "Thank you, Jiraiya-sama," said Gaara. A month later, over the last month, Jiraiya taught Gaara the few wind jutsus that was in the scroll. He made them meditate sitting in the middle of the waterfall that he created in the back to increase their perception and in Naruto's case calm him down. Gaara was grateful that Jiraiya, who not even part of his village, decided to help him. Gaara and Naruto received the same kind of training from Jiraiya in the past 2 months. Gaara had a conversation with the sand demon and he got a summoning scroll from him to summon the demon when needed. He signed the scroll and thanked the demon, so now the sand spirit went back to the demon realm in a physical form, but the chakra spirit was still sealed inside Gaara. It was now time for Gaara to return home and for Naruto and Jiraiya to continue their travel. They walked Gaara up to the gate of the sand village. "Thank you, Jiraiya-sama," said Gaara. "Don't worry about, just continue training and learn a few more wind jutsus and find some fire ones since that's your second element," said Jiraiya. "I'll see you around, Gaara," said Naruto with his usual grin. "I owe you," said Gaara. Temari, Kankaro and Baki looked at Gaara perfectly and didn't the gourd that usually carried. They were getting worried, but Gaara seemed fine. "What happened to the gourd, Gaara?" asked Baki worried. "Jiraiya-sama replaced it with something a little easier to carry," replied Gaara in his usual no emotion state. Said Temari, then Gaara pointed at the little pouch tied to his back. "What, that can't carry any sand," yelled Kankaro. "Actually, it has more than the gourd," said Naruto. "Thank you, Jiraiya-sama, for helping him," said Baki. "It's nothing," said Jiraiya as he called for Baki. "Okay, I made him learn a taijutsu style that he brought with him, made him faster, now he's as fast as Lee with his weights on. Teach him some more wind and fire jutsus. Just keep training him," whispered Jiraiya to the sand jounin. "Fast as Lee," said Baki surprised. "Thank you," said Baki. "It's nothing," said Jiraiya. Naruto and Jiraiya waved bye to the sand ninjas and started making their way to get out of the desert. "Have you been sleeping?" said Temari when she didn't see the black rings around his eyes. "Yes, Jiraiya-sama fixed the seal," said Gaara. Kankaro just fainted from shock because they tried to fix the seal a bunch of times with no success. "Where are we heading now, sensei?" asked Naruto jumping around. "The waves," said Jiraiya. "Work on doing the Rasengan with one hand while we travel," said Jiraiya throwing Naruto a water ball. "Bust this with one hand," said Jiraiya. Surprisingly, Naruto bust the water balloon with the first try since he remembered what to do. Jiraiya threw him 2 more water balloons and Naruto started to work on them. Naruto tried to concentrate on spinning the water on both of the balloons, but it seemed impossible to him. "Try to do it on the hand that you're not used to do it in yet," said Jiraiya. Naruto took on of the water balloons and started trying to bust it using his left hand since he could do it perfectly with the right hand. Naruto spent the whole day trying to do the exercise. He finally got it down at the end of the day when they arrived in a little town in the outline of the fire country. They slept in a little inn for the night so that they could continue their travel the next day. Jiraiya took the chance to go do some research and go to a strip club. Jiraiya went to the strip club and they guided him to a private room in the back of the club with a single pole in it. He sat down and a girl came out and she started giving him a lap dance. "Hey Kataya, any new information?" said Jiraiya with a big smile on his face. "Yes, Jiraiya-sama. It's on Orochimaru. Orochimaru has planned to attack Konoha after he take over the Uchiha's body with those curse-sealed warriors of his," said Kataya still dancing, "so the boss won't suspect anything. Thanks." Though I hate to, but I must be leaving now, said Jiraiya, getting up and putting some money between her cleavage. The next day, the Toad Sage looked at the boy. Do you know how to find directions? You will have to learn to find your way, to treat basic wounds, set traps for food, and traps to protect against shinobi. I know that you have sometimes passed outside while training, but if you want to survive, then you cannot leave that kind of openings. Naruto could see the logic of not leaving yourself defenseless. He remembered how lucky he was that Haku had not tried to kill him when he had passed out after practicing that night in the Land of Waves. We are going to head to the Land of Waves since they do not have a huge ninja presence. Also, you are on positive terms with the people there, so people will not bother you. On the way there, we need to discuss things that can help keep you alive during your travels in the future. Jiraiya said as he covered up the last of their encampment. As they walked to the Land of Waves, Jiraiya taught Naruto to tell time, to determine direction by the position of the sun or where the moss is growing under trees. He also began to teach Naruto the basics of tracking, including suppressing chakra so the enemy would not detect him when tracking. Naruto suppressing chakra sometimes is more difficult than calling it out because after you release it, it unconsciously flows, creating the signature that tracker nin use to find targets. If you want to suppress chakra, then you have to find that flow within yourself and instead of calling it out, push it deeper within yourself. It will be even harder for you to suppress since you have large reserves of chakra from the fox. Said Jiraiya. Okay sensei, said Naruto before Jiraiya threw him a water balloon that he had to burst. Naruto burst the balloon and looked at his sensei. I told you I was awesome, said Naruto. You do know what comes next, right? Said Jiraiya with a smirk. Jiraiya threw a rubber balloon to him, he caught it and started to try to bust it. Naruto got it and continued to try and do it with his left hand. His control got better from running on the sand using the chakra not to sink in. Naruto proceeded to do it with the right hand, now he had to do the both of them, which would also increase his chakra control. Naruto was getting bored out of his mind when they made it to a big bridge. Jiraiya looked up and saw the name of the bridge, the Great Naruto Bridge, which had Jiraiya looking at Naruto. What, said Naruto looking back at Jiraiya. Look up, said Jiraiya. Naruto looked up and saw the name and smiled, remembering his mission with Team 7. Old man Tazuna, said Naruto smiling. Okay, let's go find an inn to stay the night, said Jiraiya. It's okay, I know a place where we can stay, said Naruto. They walked for about 10 minutes before they made it to Tazuna's house. Along all the way people were waving at Naruto and greeting him, some were even cheering for the yellow-haired boy. Naruto walked up to the house and knocked on the door. Tsunami opened the door and saw Naruto. She hugged him and called for Tazuna. Dad, Inari, guess who's here, said Tsunami smiling. Tazuna and Inari came down and saw Naruto and Jiraiya standing in the living room of the house. Hey old man, said Naruto smiling and scratching the back of his head. Nai-san, yelled Inari, hugging him. Inari, Nai-san, you've grown, did you take care of your mom, said Naruto smiling. Yes, said Inari with tears in her eyes. I told you already, don't cry for no reason, said Naruto. Yes, said Inari, wiping his tears away. Where are your teammates, said Tazuna. I'm on a training trip with my sensei, said Naruto pointing at Jiraiya smiling. Jiraiya waved to the old man and went back to reading the scroll he had in his hand. Can we stay here for a week or so, said Naruto scratching the back of his head. Sure, we owe you, said Tazuna smiling. You know where the guest room is, said Tazuna to the blonde. What's up with the bridge, said Naruto with a smile. We owed it to you, you was willing to give your life for us, you gave us courage to stand up for ourselves. It's only fair. Thank you, said Tazuna with a few tears. You still a bridge builder, said Naruto. The greatest and the new mayor of the town, said Tazuna. You old drunk, said Naruto laughing. Shut up, shrimp, said Tazuna laughing also. Naruto and Jiraiya went upstairs to the guest room and set their stuff down. Jiraiya was still reading the scroll that he was reading earlier. He put the scroll down and laid down to rest a little before his meeting with his spy. Naruto took some rubber balloons from the storage scroll that Jiraiya carried and went outside to finish the training. Naruto first did it with his left hand, then he started going on doing one on each hand. He finished the exercise and created a Rasengan in each hand easily. He started jumping around in joy like he usually did when he accomplished something. Jiraiya woke and took Naruto with him for the meeting with the spy. On the way there they started talking. Naruto, since you're my apprentice, you will have to over things that I do when I die, said Jiraiya seriously. You mean write those perverted books of yours, said Naruto with a frown. Yes, and take over my spy network for the village, said Jiraiya with a grin. What is a spy network, said Naruto confused. You have people getting information for you on traitors, other countries act, said Jiraiya proudly. So that's the other research you be doing, said Naruto laughing. Yes, it's very important. Matter of fact, I'm meeting with one of my spies today, said Jiraiya seriously. Naruto and Jiraiya walked to a dark alley that came to an end by a big metal door. Jiraiya knocked twice and a man opened the little opening on the door. Who is it, said the man. Amma, said Jiraiya, and the man opened and let him in. Jiraiya and Naruto walked in and saw that it was a bar with a bunch of little private chambers. What Naruto didn't know what that he knew the person they were meeting already. Jiraiya walked in one of the chambers and told Naruto to wait for him by the bar. He called Weasel before he sat down. The mysterious man walked in the chamber and sat opposite of Jiraiya. He removed his hat. "Hello, Jiraiya-sama," said Itachi. "Itachi, how's it going?" said Jiraiya with a smile. "Okay," answered Itachi. "Have you found out yet?" said Jiraiya serious. "Yes, it's all in this scroll," said Itachi handing him a scroll. Then he took out another scroll and gave it to Jiraiya. "This is for Naruto. I heard what happened with Sasuke," said Itachi. "You completed your mission," said Jiraiya. "Why don't you come back to the village?" said Jiraiya serious. "I can't do that," said Itachi still in his Uchiha face. "What about Kisame?" said Itachi. "We can talk about him later," said Jiraiya. "They plan to attack with those curse-sealed warriors," said Jiraiya serious. "Of course. I will assist the village, but I can't come back or can't let anyone know my identity," said Itachi. "Meet me in the old Whirlpool in about a month. We'll talk about everything," said Jiraiya. "See you then," said Itachi walking out the room. Jiraiya walked out the room and saw Naruto drinking something in front of him. He walked up to Naruto and the yellow head started laughing. "You look funny, sensei," said Naruto still laughing. "Naruto, have you been drinking?" said Jiraiya serious. Why, said Naruto getting up, but he was about to fall until Jiraiya caught him. "Let's go," said Jiraiya laughing. "Old enough to kill, old enough to drink, I guess," thought Jiraiya. Jiraiya put Naruto on his shoulder and walked out the bar with him. He went to the old man house and put Naruto to sleep while he started to pack his stuff and Naruto's so that they could leave the next day. To be continued. Chapter 3. The training continues. Naruto and Jiraiya left the land of waves and they was now heading toward the old Whirlpool country, his mother's birthplace. Jiraiya had to tell him why they were going there first, of course. Naruto trying to find a way to improve the Rasengan walking besides his sensei when Jiraiya just suddenly sat down. "Brat, come here," said Jiraiya sitting by the box that he took from the Hokage tower. Naruto walked toward him slowly. Jiraiya opened the box and handed him a scroll which was titled "To my son." Naruto opened the scroll and it was a letter. "Dear Naruto, you might not know me since I'm going to be dead when you see this letter, but I'm your father. My name is Minato Namikaze and I was the 4th Hokage of Konoha. I'm sorry, son, for what I'm about to do to you, so please forgive me. I really wanted to see you grow up and to teach everything I know, but it seems that that's not going to happen since the Kyuubi is on his way to the village right now. Son, I chose you to carry this burden because I cannot ask another parent to do what I'm not willing to do myself, and because you are the only one who could do it, I believe in you. Your mother is Uzumaki Kushina, a beautiful woman. She was born in the Whirlpool village. I left you the scroll to my jutsu and seals in the Namikaze sword since you are the heir to the clan and the last member. Jiraiya-sensei is your godfather and he will help you with the jutsus. I have to go now, the fox is getting closer. Love always, your father, Minato Namikaze." The letter had tear marks on it, meaning that Minato was crying when he wrote the letter. Naruto turned to Jiraiya with tears in his eyes. "You knew all this time and you didn't tell me," said Naruto still crying. "It was a rule in the village and your dad made me promise not to tell you until you was at least a chunin," said Jiraiya sadly. "You're my godfather, where the hell were you all this time?" yelled Naruto still crying. "I would have left the village with you, but the council members wouldn't let me. And it would be too dangerous for you since I got quite a few enemies," said Jiraiya serious. "You mean the old people that be bugging Gigi? There is one that be looking at me funny when I go to Gigi's office," said Naruto. "Does he look like a mummy?" asked Jiraiya. "Yes," said Naruto. "He was the main one," said Jiraiya. "Let's see what else is in this box," said Jiraiya looking in the box. In the box Jiraiya saw 2 jutsu scrolls, one for the Flying Thunder God and one for the Rasengan. He saw 2 swords, one with a swirl similar to the one that Naruto wears and one with a dragon on it with water coming out its mouth. Along with it there was a training guide left by Kushina for Naruto and lastly a coat similar to the one worn by Minato. Jiraiya opened the training guide and the first thing it said was that they had to go to the Whirlpool village, the same destination where Jiraiya and Naruto was heading right now, and there was direction how to get there. In Whirlpool, Naruto and Jiraiya finally made it to the Whirlpool. Jiraiya followed the direction written on the scroll by Kushina and went to a whirlpool that was in the outline of the village. The whirlpool had a powerful current in it and was kinda big. "This says that one must walk on the whirlpool. No point in getting our clothes wet," said Jiraiya reading the first part of the training guide. Naruto and him took off their clothes down to only their shorts. They both got on the whirlpool, but the current was taking them away as soon as they set foot on the thing. Jiraiya got out of the whirlpool swimming and took a look at the scroll again. "Must use more chakra than with the water walking exercise," Jiraiya read it out loud. They did just that and they could stand on it, then they started to walk and the current took Naruto out the whirlpool because he lost control of his chakra. Jiraiya on the other hand was walking on the whirlpool, but slowly since he didn't completely get the exercise yet. "Naruto, you must use a little more than the chakra required for the water walking," said Jiraiya loudly so that the yellow head could hear him. Naruto got on the whirlpool again walking as slowly as his sensei was. Jiraiya was getting a little comfortable with the exercise and decided to walk at his usual pace. Naruto did the same, and they started to walk around the whole whirlpool. Jiraiya started at a slow pace, then increased the speed every time he got comfortable doing it at the pace, until he could run on the whirlpool along with his student. They got off the whirlpool after being able to run on it. "Okay brat, this month we will continue to work on your speed, then we will work on your taijutsu," said Jiraiya pulling out a scroll from the box. "Now increase the weights and run around for 10 laps," said Jiraiya putting his clothes back on. "How much do I put on?" said Naruto putting his pants back on. "Double what you had last time," said Jiraiya. "Okay, I'll be done in no time." "Believe it," yelled Naruto. Naruto started to run the laps, while Jiraiya read the training guide over again and found out that it was supposed to increase one's chakra reserve and control, and that if you run around on it, you'd get faster, since the current would be trying to keep you back. Naruto finished doing the laps around late night, since he ran the outline of half the island. Jiraiya had set camp and made fire to cook already. Naruto finished and couldn't even stand up, so he just fell on the ground in front of the tent. Jiraiya picked him up and handed him some of the food he made for them. He ate and went by the river to bath. The next day, they woke up and they stretched get ready for the day of training. Naruto took off his top but kept his pants since his weights was still on. They both got on the whirlpool, and Jiraiya told him that he had to run laps around the whirlpool until he couldn't run anymore. After 4 hours of running they both stopped and got off the whirlpool to get something to eat. After eating, they took an hour break where Jiraiya wrote some porn and Naruto looked at the swords that his parents left him. Jiraiya then took out a scroll from the box which said to Naruto and handed it to him. "It's a blood seal. Put some blood on the seal," said Jiraiya. Naruto opened the scroll and started reading it. "Make as many clones as you can," said Jiraiya. Naruto put his finger in the cross shape and said Taiju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu multi-shadow clone jutsu and created 1,000 clones in the clearing they was in. "Divide them, do just like you did learning the fox style," said Jiraiya, who was looking over the katas. "Hi. Hiro Senin," said Naruto practicing the katas along with Jiraiya doing them so that he see when he made a mistake. "Naruto, this style is a combination of your dad's style and your mom's. It requires fast movements, and you block an attack with a kick or a punch, so you're always on the offensive, even when on the defensive," said Jiraiya still doing the katas. Naruto spent the whole day learning the katas to their new taijutsu styles with Jiraiya. The night came and he dispelled all the clones, and he on the ground unconscious due to all the information he received from all the clones. Jiraiya took the time to prepare some food for when Naruto woke up. Too many clones, thought Jiraiya. Jiraiya prepared the food while Naruto woke up in his mind in front of the big gates of the Kyubi. "My jailer decided to pay me a little visit, huh?" said Kyubi. "What am I doing here?" said Naruto. "This is your mind," said Kyubi. "Why did you hold back in the fight with the Uchiha?" said Kyubi. "Because he's my friend." "I didn't want to kill him," yelled Naruto at the big fox. Friend, lot the fox. "He would have killed you with that Chidori of his," said the fox, said Naruto. He was about to reply to the fox, but he couldn't find nothing to say. "That's what I thought, I will not have you losing to the Uchiha anymore, brat," yelled the fox. "But, when I fought him he predicted all my moves," said Naruto. "That's because you were too slow," said the fox. "The Uchiha copied that thick eyebrow kid speed, so I will block your mind too, only you can access it," said the fox. "How does that help me?" said Naruto confused. "The Uchihas can predict someone's movement by reading their minds using the Sharingan," said the fox. "So, if they can't enter my mind they can't copy my moves or predict my movement," said Naruto happily. "Exactly, but you're still an idiot," laughed the fox. "Shut up, you big furball," yelled Naruto. "What the fuck did you just call me, you puny human? When I come out this fucking seal, you will be the first one to die, the first fucking one," yelled the fox. "Take care, furball," said Naruto going back to the real world. "Come back and say it to my face," yelled the fox. Later, Naruto woke up and saw the food prepared by Jiraiya. He ate, then got up to see Jiraiya just looking at the afternoon sky. Naruto sat by him, and they started talking a little about the meeting he had with Itachi the previous week. "Who was you meeting with? Since I'm your apprentice I think you should tell me," said Naruto smiling. "Itachi Uchiha," said Jiraiya seriously. "What? Itachi is a traitor," said Naruto angry at his sensei. "No, Gaki, don't talk about things you don't know, Itachi isn't the traitor," Sasuke said Jiraiya seriously looking at the blonde. "How the hell is that? He killed his whole clan," yelled Naruto still angry. "Because you heard Sasuke say that does not make it true, he did it for a reason," yelled Jiraiya back at the boy. "Itachi didn't want to do it, we just came out of the war with Iwa, the Kyubi attack, everyone just wanted a little peace. The Uchihas were planning a coup to take over the leaf. Your dad tried talking to them, but then he died. The old man wanted to talk to them, but his advisors gave Itachi a mission to kill his clan to stop it. He begged for Sasuke's life and they told him he could leave him alive. They let him leave the village without sending hunter nins after him, that's when he became my spy," said Jiraiya sadly. "You mean he killed his whole family for the sake of the village?" said Naruto crying. "Yes, he loves the village and it's killing him not being able to go home," said Jiraiya still sad at the young man's fate. Will he ever be able to come back, said Naruto, still crying. I hope so, said Jiraiya with determination in his eyes. Me too, I will bring him back, said Naruto with even more determination. The next day, Naruto woke up and put his weights on to start the day, but there was one thing missing, his sensei. Jiraiya was still snoring loudly inside the tent. Naruto walked in the tent and saw his sleeping sensei. He created a clone and sent him by the little river to get some water in a container. The clone came back with the container full of water. The water was cold as hell, so Naruto started to grin. He took the water and poured the water on Jiraiya and ran. Jiraiya jumped up out the futon he was sleeping in. Cold, 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 yelled Jiraiya. He heard laughing outside, so he peeked out the tent to see Naruto on the ground holding his stomach laughing. Jiraiya put his pants on and walked out the tent glaring at the yellow-head boy. You know the routine, said Jiraiya, still glaring the boy. Come on, lighten up, sensei, said Naruto, still laughing. I'll get you for that, thought Jiraiya with evil laughter. They both jumped on the whirlpool and started to run on the whirlpool. It was easy to both of them already, but they still did it for 4 hours. After the whirlpool exercise, Naruto prepared some ramen that he had in a storage scroll, and they ate before they could start the next exercise. Naruto got up and started to practice the katas, but Jiraiya stopped him. On the whirlpool, said Jiraiya, getting on the whirlpool to practice the katas. What, yelled Naruto, protesting to his sensei. Now, said Jiraiya with a grin. Naruto got on the whirlpool and started to practice the katas. Every time he did a different one, he fell in the whirlpool because he was having a problem concentrating on staying on the whirlpool and doing the katas. Jiraiya finished going over all the katas, so he got out the water and went to prepare some more food. Naruto was now able to perform a kata and still stay on the water, but he had to do it slowly. 2 weeks later, Naruto, Itachi will be joining us a couple of hours later, said Jiraiya, trying to avoid any question. What, yelled Naruto, looking at his sensei. Naruto, this is an S-rank secret of our village. Let me start from the beginning. The Sharingan is a Ijutsu that evolves at puberty if it ever develops in an Uchiha. The Mangekyo Sharingan, which is what they call the upgraded Sharingan, evolves as a result of the fracturing of the mind with tremendous sadness, guilt, or trauma after the initial Sharingan has manifested itself. This is why the quickest way to achieve this form is to kill a person who is extremely close to you like a best friend. This form has incredible powers and abilities, but it comes at the price that the eyes will slowly go blind. Also, the technique does incredible damage to the psyche of the person who acquires it due to the cost of obtaining it. It is a forbidden technique among the Uchihas since it could lead to them killing each other off. People tried to explain this as the reason why Itachi killed off his clan, but I know this is not the case. Jiraiya sighed as he finished explaining to Naruto. What do you mean, pervy sage? Naruto eyes raised at that last statement regarding Itachi, who was largely blamed for destroying the clan in a homicidal rage. Itachi was the head of the Anbu and was in direct contact with the third. The third trusted him without question. Think about it. How do you think the third Hokage was able to find all the evidence that the frog mentioned? Also, there is evidence that the Uchiha were trying to investigate Itachi, and this indicates that Itachi was being seen as an outsider to the clan. There is more to Itachi than you even know, said Jiraiya, looking at the yellow-head boy. What are you saying, Iro-senin? Naruto eyes widened. Itachi did not just kill his clan on a fit of rage. He was actually sent on a mission to do so. This is a SS mission limited to the few of our village elders and the third Hokage. I only knew of the mission as the third informed me that there was a plan to remove the elder leadership of the Uchiha, and Itachi was the one who volunteered to do this. He knew he could do it quickly without drawing the village into a civil war. If a person was caught from another clan, then this could have torn the village apart in a civil war. In fact, the third wanted to make sure that if things spiraled out of control that I was to return home to protect the village. This is why I was let in on the mission. How that assassination mission spilled into a full-scale genocide was something that no one could not fathom. Itachi was limited to taking out the upper leadership who were suspected of plotting against the village. Jiraiya showed signs of sadness as he reflected on all the women, children, and elderly people who had died on that horrible night. What are you saying? The third ordered the death of the Uchiha. He could not do something like that. Naruto was shocked that the third could be so callous. His grandfather-like figure could not have been that cruel. It was supposed to be a surgical strike and take out the cancerous elements. Afterwards, we could reveal the plot and state Itachi was defending the village after we performed the investigation to uncover the proof. The goal was that he would be exonerated after the proof emerged. Itachi was going to disappear till the heat cleared when the third cleared him. Something went wrong that night because the real Itachi had left the village and Sasuke discovered a person who looked like Itachi. This person must have used a henge to look Itachi and he must have used a genjutsu to hurt Sasuke. As to why Sasuke was spared, no one knew. The village was assumed Itachi spared his brother out of remorse. Explained Jiraiya, still with the sadness in his face. Itachi knew that he could never return after that horrific murders of everyone in the clan and what Sasuke saw that night. Itachi may have acquired the Mangenkyo due to his mission, but it may have come at a terrible price. He was only going to take out a few people who were pulling the strings of this coup attempt. Instead, he lost everything. Jiraiya shook his head thinking of the fate that Itachi had suffered. Naruto went numb, realizing that feeling of loneliness and hate that were directed at Itachi were misplaced. Itachi shouldered the guilt of killing members of his own clan for the village. His act of heroism was kept secret and instead he was reviled as a horrific monster. Naruto knew exactly what Itachi's life would be like. He would only have a life filled with sadness and lacking love. It was just like how Naruto felt as a child. How do you know that Itachi did not betray the village? Naruto eyed his sensei with great intent. Itachi is the person who provides me with information on the movements of the Akatsuki and their purpose, said Jiraiya. Itachi though Naruto, a few hours. Naruto finally mastered the taijutsu style of his mom and dad and he could do it on the Whirlpool in his normal speed. Naruto had gotten stronger and was going to get stronger when he would finally get to learn ninjutsu. Jiraiya packed his stuff and Naruto was packing his so that they could leave after the meeting with Itachi. Itachi and Kisame just made it on the island and they was looking for Jiraiya when a little toad appeared in front of them. Itachi already knew that Jiraiya sent the toad to get them. They walked slowly behind the little toad who was constantly asking for candy. They finally made to the place that Naruto and Jiraiya was waiting for them. Hello Jiraiya-sama, Naruto-san said Itachi with all his emotions hidden perfectly. Itachi-san, Kisame-san said Jiraiya. Boss up Itachi, Sushi Man waved Naruto still packing his stuff. Hey brat said Kisame showing his shark teeth. They were talking when an old man appeared behind Kisame with a sword in each hand. What are you doing here asked the white-haired old man. Kisame was about to take out his sword, but Jiraiya stopped him. Calm down, we just here training. I thought there wasn't anyone living here said Jiraiya looking at the old man. Who are you asked Naruto questioning the old man. My name is Uzumaki Kudum said the old. Naruto looked the man with his mouth wide open. What's your problem kid said the old man seeing the look on Naruto's face. His name is Naruto Uzumaki, son of Kushina Uzumaki, said Jiraiya for Naruto. You're Kushina sensei's son said Itachi with a smile which only lasted a few seconds. Did you say Kushina said Kudum with a smile. Yes, you know her said Jiraiya. Know her that's my daughter said Kudum laughing. Naruto started crying. I'm sorry, but she died giving birth to me said Naruto crying. What you crying for, you finally met your family kid said Kudum still laughing. Let's go inside, because you don't want nobody seeing you out here, said Kudum putting his sword away. I thought the village was destroyed during the Great Shinobi War, said Jiraiya surprised. Only some of the warriors, the rest of us stayed here and the place is hidden by a powerful genjutsu, so if you don't know the entrance, you'll just go in a circle around the village said Kudum. Naruto, Jiraiya, Itachi and Kisame followed Kudum inside the village. When they entered the village they saw not many people around. There was 7 young boys around Konohamaru's age and 3 girls the same age. There were also 3 girls around 18, Kunin, Kyoki and Shinen, and 1 girl that's around 29, Kutai. In the far corner were 3 guys standing with a girl besides each of them, Kenji and Shina, Kichizen and Mai, and Kenli and Jira, and 3 other guys standing alone Kenzu, Jiren, and Yukano. 1 girl with black hair dressed in civilian clothes was looked at Itachi and smiled, so he smiled back. There were 2 old men standing with 2 old ladies besides them and 1 old lady sitting alone. Kudum-sama, who are these strangers that you bring here said an old lady who's sitting alone. This is Naruto Uzumaki, Jiraiya of the Sannin, Itachi Uchiha, and Kisame Hashigaki, said Kudum pointing at each one. Did you say Uzumaki said the old lady. Yes, this is the son of Kushina-san, she died giving birth to him, said Kudum with a little sadness in his eyes. Naruto this is your grandmother Kashima, your uncle Kenji and his wife Shina, and your granduncles and grandaunties sitting in the corner said Kudum. Tell them a little about you said Kudum. Well, I didn't really have a normal childhood so I don't like to talk about. I like ramen and training and my new family, I like to protect my friends, said Naruto before he was interrupted by Jiraiya who said he's very loyal. I like to learn new jutsus and stuff. And I will be the Hokage of my village continued Naruto. Oh, and the 9-tailed fox is sealed in me, said Naruto nervous saying it, but he felt like he had to say since these people were his family and all. What yelled Kashima yelled. Yes, he was the only kid born on the night that the Kyuubi attacked who could hold the fox. His chakra reserve is kinda massive, said Jiraiya looking at the old lady. She walked up to Naruto and hugged him which surprised him. Okay, on other subject. What are you doing way out here? Asked Kashima hugging Naruto. Kushina-san left a training guide for Naruto and for one of the chakra control exercise we needed a whirlpool, so we ended up here said Jiraiya scratching the back of his head. He finished the training guide and we was about to start sword training, but I don't really know how to fight with a sword. And these 2 didn't come yet. Said Jiraiya scratching the back of his head again. I will teach the boy and you can learn with him, said Kudum smiling. Elsewhere, Sasuke was walking with Orochimaru and Kabuto in a dark hallway heading for the training ground. Orochimaru was going to make Sasuke work on the speed that he copied from Rock Lee during their fight. They made it to the training ground and they stopped. Sasuke looked at Orochimaru and the team pointed at Kabuto. Sasuke got in his clan fighting style, while Kabuto got in an unknown style. Kabuto ran towards Sasuke with full speed and hit him in the stomach before he could move to dodge. Sasuke was sent flying a few yards back, he got up and got in his stance again, but this time he ran toward Kabuto, but Kabuto appeared behind him before he could attack. Kabuto kicked him and he managed to do a flip, then landed on his legs. "You need to get faster than this to defeat Itachi," taunted Orochimaru with a smirk. "HN," answered Sasuke. Kabuto attacked again, but this time Sasuke blocked the attack and punched him in the stomach. Before he jumped away from the Uchiha, Sasuke appeared behind him in the blink of an eye and was about to kick him, but he blocked the attack and punched Sasuke in the face. Orochimaru had an evil smile on his face. The weaker Kabuto make him look, the more he let that power take over him. Sasuke did some hand seals, then said Kaiten. Hausenka no Jutsu fire style. Mythical fire phoenix jutsu and shot multiple blasts of fire out his mouth, but Kabuto dodged all of them. Before Kabuto dodged the last one he did some hand seals and the curse mark glowed once, then he said Kaiten. Kakaku no Jutsu fire style. Grand fireball jutsu, and he released the Uchiha's main jutsu at Kabuto. Shit, thought Kabuto before he sunk in the ground to evade the attack. "That's enough, Kabuto, go prepare the medicine," said Orochimaru. "That's some shinobi ready to go to the former Whirlpool village to see if there is some of them there to make Sasuke a sword. If you find any and they don't want to do it, kill them," said Orochimaru, licking his lips. He handed Kabuto a map and Kabuto left with it. "Now, Sasuke, let's get some real training done," said Orochimaru, licking his lips again. "HN," said Sasuke. "Now, first things first is speed. Put these seals on," said Orochimaru, handing him some weight seals. "HN," said Sasuke, putting one seal in each hand and each leg and one on his chest. "Flow some chakra into them to activate, then say the weight you want," said Orochimaru. Kabuto and 50 sound ninjas stood outside the sound village. He looked at the map and saw where the whirlpool was, so they started heading toward the land of water to get there. The 50 sound ninjas were all jounin chosen by Kabuto for the mission. But Naruto and Jiraiya was doing Kenjutsu training with Kudum, while 10 clones was doing water element training with Kashima, and 10 clones was learning another Taijutsu style form Kenji, and 10 clones working on another Taijutsu style from Kichizen, Kenji's brother. Itachi and Kisame were in the house taking off their Akatsuki clothes to replace them with some Anbu clothing that Jiraiya had in a storage scroll. The real Naruto and Jiraiya was using fake swords to learn the Kenjutsu style. "Why are we using fake swords?" asked Naruto, sweating. "Because you don't know how to use a sword yet, and if you train with a real sword you might cut yourself," said Kudum. Naruto was about to say something else when Jiraiya hit him over the head. "Shut up, Gaki," yelled Jiraiya. They went through the katas for the style slowly at first, then they started increasing the speed over time. Naruto and Jiraiya quickly got it and they kept increasing the speed until they got to maximum speed. They finished with the katas and they went inside to get something to eat. When they walked in the house they found Itachi and Kisame just trying to take out their rings, which was not coming off. Kudum walked in a minute after and saw them trying to take the rings off with no success. "These fucking rings won't come off," yelled Kisame. "Hold up," said Kudum, taking out his sword. "What the hell you think you're doing?" yelled Kisame, putting his other hand over the finger. "Cutting the finger off," said Kudum with grin. "What?" yelled Kisame. "I'm just playing with you, kid," said Kudum, laughing. He did some hand seals, then put his hand over the finger and said release, and the ring came off. He walked over to Itachi and did the same thing, and his ring came off also. Itachi and Kisame went outside to walk around in their new outfit. Itachi was wearing his old Anbu outfit with a long black coat, similar to the one the Akatsuki wears, except with no clouds. Kisame was wearing a new version of the Anbu uniform with a similar coat. The only thing different was the fact that he wasn't carrying the sharkskin sword of his. They walked around the little town, then went back to the Uzumaki compound rest. Meanwhile, Naruto and Jiraiya was now practicing the katas with 2 swords that the old man let them hold for practice. Kisame got bored as soon as he went inside and decided to come back out with Itachi, who was sitting outside looking at the training. "Okay," Naruto settled down. "As you can, most of us here are old and about to die soon. The island is also going to be bad for a few years because a tsunami is coming in the next 3 years. When you're leaving you need to come back here because Kenji and his wife will be going back to the Hidden Leaf village with the younger one. You will be taking everything in the library with you because once I die the Jinjutsu protecting this place will disappear and other villages will take everything and you don't want that. Kenji and his wife are very strong ninjas and they already know everything that the us Uzumakis know and can start a clan based on that. They know how to make swords and other things. Yudik will also go there with his wife and so will Kichizen and his wife," said Kudum, serious. "Come with us," said Naruto, smiling. "Maybe, because I want to see Kushina's grave," said Kudum, smiling. There is some guy with snake eyes that came here before looking for jutsus, but he couldn't find his way in, but I'm sure he'll be coming again, said Kudum. Orochimaru, both Jiraiya and Naruto said. That is my former teammate, he's training Naruto's for teammate. And he might come here with him since he has the Sharingan to see if there is a Jinjutsu guarding this place, said Jiraiya serious. Sasuke thought Naruto and Itachi. Let's get back to training, he said Kudum. Naruto and Jiraiya got in the stance and started going over the katas, but this time with more accuracy and viciousness. They finished with the training for the day and they went inside to go in the Uzumaki library. When they entered the library, Naruto was actually drooling at all the jutsu scrolls he saw. Jiraiya was in the seal section looking over some of the seals they had there. He was currently looking for a seal that can summon the compound when they got to the Leaf Village. You will have to seal all of these in a storage scroll and take them back to the village with you, said Kudum looking at Naruto. Found it, yelled Jiraiya showing them the seal. When we get back to the village, we'll just summon the compound, said Jiraiya laughing. Oh, I forgot about that seal, said Kudum laughing. Back in Konoha, Tsunade was sleeping in her office while the girls was doing more training outside. Hinata had finished bringing the fish back to life first and went home to train with her father. Tenten was struggling with the training the most since she had the most chakra of all the girls. Tenten went and asked Shizune for a few pointers and she helped her out and Tenten went back to doing the exercise. She gave it all she got and was starting to get the hang of it. I'm done, yelled Sakura in happiness. Okay, then Sakura, go take this to Lady Tsunade's office, said Shizune handing her a bottle of sake. They had grown to accept Sakura a little bit since they had to go on missions with her, but they hadn't completely forgive her for her actions toward Naruto. The only ones who hadn't forgive her not even a little were Shikamaru and Hinata. Sakura got to the office and put the bottle on the desk, then tried to wake Tsunade up. She tried the first time and nothing happened. She tried again and Tsunade woke up and swung at her, but she didn't know who it was and Sakura was punched through the wall of the office and Tsunade went back to sleep. Sakura went back down to the training ground looking like she was in a battle for her life. You tried to wake Lady Tsunade up, asked Shizune laughing. Yes, why didn't you warn me, yelled Sakura angry at the girl. I forgot, said Shizune laughing. What, yelled Sakura. All done, yelled Tenten and Ino. The job, now go home and get some rest, said Shizune smiling. Tenten and Ino walked to a little dango restaurant to grab a bite to eat before they went home and do more training. Tenten and Ino ran into all the boys which was coming from training with their senseis and some with their family. Shikamaru was walking like he was sleeping. Hey guys, said Tenten waving to the boys. Yosh, Tenten-chan, yelled Lee striking a pose. Why do you have to be so loud, Lee, said Tenten hitting him on the head. Where are you guys heading, asked Ino. To grab a bite to eat at Ichiraku, said Choji holding Shikamaru up so that he wouldn't fall asleep. We'll come along, training with Lady Tsunade is a nightmare, said Ino with a frown. They walked to the little ramen stand and they each took a seat. As soon as he took a seat, Shikamaru put his head on the stand and started to sleep until Ino hit him on the head to wake him up. The old man greeted them looking for Naruto, his favorite customer, but he didn't see him. Then he remembered that he left the village with Jiraiya. They started talking and laughing about the training they were going through and other things they were doing in their free time. Hey guys, what can I get for you, said the old man smiling. Any of you heard from Naruto, said AM coming from the back. No, answered Shikamaru. I'll get 3 miso and 1 pork, said Choji eating some chips. You need to watch your weight, yelled Ino looking at the boy. I'll get a vegetable one, said Ino smiling at the old man. Hell no, she'll get a miso ramen, said Tenten smiling at the girl. But I don't want to gain any weight, yelled Ino looking at the girl. You're a ninja, you need to eat. With the kind of thing Tsunade-sama has us do, you need the strength, said Tenten looking at the girl with a smile. Naruto ate 10 bowls of ramen, you don't see him getting big, said Niji with something that nobody expected, a smile. Whatever, said Ino ordering some more solid food to eat. They all ordered their food and ate before they went home. To be continued. Chapter 4. The Uzumakas. 2 weeks later, the Budo and the 50 sound ninjas arrived in the formerly no Whirlpool village, but they saw nothing except an empty village with no one living in it. They started looking around to see if anyone was around, but they saw no one. Naruto and Jiraiya finished learning the Kinjutsu style and was getting ready to start another one with the old man. Naruto learned a bunch of water jutsus from Kashima and 10 Whirlpool Taijutsu styles from his uncles. Kudum sensed the sound ninjas outside and told Jiraiya about it. He walked outside to see what they wanted, while Itachi, Kisame, Jiraiya, Kenji, Kichizen, and Yukano, Kenzu, Jiren, Kenli, Kunin, Kyoki, Shinin and Kutai was getting ready to back him up in case of a battle. Naruto had to stay inside because he didn't want nobody to recognize him and because Jiraiya said that he would take care of it. Jiraiya, Itachi and Kisame transformed themselves into old men so that they wouldn't be recognized by anyone. They walked outside without revealing the location of the entrance to anyone and stood behind Kudum. We need a sword made for Orochimaru-sama's apprentice, said Kabuto looking at the army of 13, thinking that they would back down when they heard Orochimaru. What does that have to do with us? Can't you just buy a sword, said Kudum looking at the young boy. No, we need one that he can flow his chakra type through. And you will make it, threatened Kabuto, and the sound ninjas jumped behind him. Look here Kenji-san, the kid wants to play ninja, said Kudum. They all took out their swords and got in their fighting stance facing the 50 sound ninjas. You think you can take us on, said Kabuto laughing. Try us, said Kudum smiling. The sound ninjas ran toward the Whirlpool shinobis with great speed, but the Whirlpool shinobi stood firm and didn't even move a muscle. Don't go all out, said Kudum smiling. One threw a kick toward Kyoki, but she dodged it before she could counterattack. Another kicked her in the stomach, but she did a flip back so she wouldn't fall. She took out her sword while the two sound ninjas took out their kunais. She settled in a kenjutsu stance and got ready. The first sound nin attacked her with his kunai, but she blocked it with her sword and kicked him back. The second one took the chance to start doing summon seals, then said Kaiten. Kiryu and in fire style. Fire dragon flame bullet and a fire dragon came out his mouth toward the girl. She did a backflip and put some distance between herself and the sound nin. She planted the sword on the ground and did some hand seals, then said almost quietly Suiton. Sujin Heki no Jutsu water style. Water encampment wall jutsu and a water wall formed in front of her out of nowhere which stopped the fire dragon. She picked up the sword while the wall was still up and jumped through the water wall toward. The nin saw her coming his way and took out his kunai, but it was too late since she jumped down in front of him and pierced his heart with her. She took it out of him just in time to cut the other nin, who was trying to sneak up on her, clean off. She got up and wiped her sword in his clothes and put it back in its place. Gutai had already killed one of the sound nins attacking her, and it was now a one-on-one fight. They were both sweating and struggling, but Gutai had a big smile on her face since she ain't get in no fight in a long time. She was fighting like she was crazy, and her attacks were deadly and powerful. She sent a powerful strike with the sword again, and the sword went right through the kunai and sliced through the man's shoulder. She was about to slice him again, but he kicked her away. She ran back toward him with incredible speed and ducked right in front of him and cut him from the balls up in half. Jiraiya, Itachi, Kisame and Kenji was standing side to side looking at the sound nin in front of them. Itachi was the first to move. He took out some kunais and jumped in the air in swift and quick motion. He killed 4 sound nins with the kunais before he landed on the ground. Jiraiya disappeared and reappeared in the middle of all the sound nin and punched one in the stomach with so much force that the nin died immediately. All of them was about to attack him when Kudum jumped and landed in front of the nins and killed 3 with 2 sword strikes. Jiraiya kicked one nin and sent him flying in the air. Itachi jumped in the air after the nin and took out his Anbu sword in mid-air and cut the man's arm before he ran his sword through the man's stomach. The body fell down and Itachi landed on the ground with the sword in his hand. Jiraiya, Kisame, and Kenji killed all of the nins that was around them and was now running toward the other guys, but when they got there all of the other nins were already dead. Now there was only 10 sound nins left alive, including Kabuto who was hiding looking at the fight. Kisame took 2 nins by the neck and threw them in the air, and Itachi finished them. Kudum cut yet another one's head, while Kenji put his sword away after he killed 2 sound nin. All of the sound ninjas was killed, and only Kabuto was left alive. Come out boy, said Kudum laughing. He will carry a message to Orochimaru that he'll be killed if he ever come back here, said Kudum. Kabuto was about to run away before Kichizen appeared in front of him and kicked him in the chest, sending him flying. Kabuto got up and got in a stance to fight. Kichizen, just let him go, he can't seriously think that he can fight all of us when I could kill him without breaking a sweat, said Kudum. Yes, Kudum-sama, said Kichizen walking away from Kabuto. Kabuto sunk in the ground. Lord Orochimaru will be pissed, thought Kabuto running on the river. Well, that was fun, said Kunin putting her sword away. Hell yeah, said Kisame dropping the disguise, and the others in disguise did the same. Clean this up, said Kudum pointing at the dead bodies on the ground. Kisame did some hand seals, then said Suiton. Bikusui Shouhin no Jutsu water style. Explicit water shockwave, and out his mouth came a big water shockwave which washed the bodies away. They all went back inside to continue their day. Jiraiya and Naruto got back to training, while Kisame started reading an orange book that Jiraiya gave him to pass some time. Itachi was outside to help on Naruto's training. Jiraiya and Naruto finished the sword training and went inside to eat. Kashima prepared the food and everybody sat around the table to eat. Jiraiya finished eating and went outside with Naruto, Itachi, and Kisame. What do you know about the leader, said Jiraiya sitting by the river thinking. We don't really know of his skill, but it said that he can summon a bunch of animals and that he's never been defeated before, said Itachi thinking back to his time in the Akatsuki. Do any of you have any summon, said Kudum coming out the water, which surprised everybody. Me and Naruto can summon toads, answered Jiraiya looking at the old man. No, answered Kisame and Itachi. What do you like, asked Kudum. Shark, said Kisame laughing. Crows, answered Itachi. Follow me, said Kudum walking toward the library. They went inside the library and Kudum went inside a door that was inside the library and they entered the room. There was a bunch of scrolls with different names on them. Kudum took out 3 scrolls and threw one to Itachi, one to Naruto, and one to Kisame. Kisame's scroll had shark on it. Naruto's had lion on it, while Itachi's had crow on it. They went outside back by the river and opened the scrolls. Kisam's had most of the Uzumaki's on it, since the island was surrounded by water. Itachi's had no names signed in it yet, and Naruto's had only 3 names on it: Kudum, Kashima, Kashina. The lion was the Uzumaki's main summon until they had no ninja village and didn't have any more war. Itachi signed the contract and summoned a big crow, but he felt his chakra go down as soon as he did the summon. Kisame summoned a giant shark in the river and was grinning. "Who summoned me here?" yelled the shark. "I was me, Kisame Hoshigaki," said Kisame, standing in front of the shark. "Hoshigaki, ha," said the shark. "Yes, I will be your new summoner," said Kisame. "I am Hashiki, the head of the sharks," said the shark, looking at Kisame. "Pleasure to meet you," said Kisame. Jiraiya did some hand seals and summoned Ma and Pot Ode to explain the situation to them before Naruto signed the contract with the lions. Jiraiya told them about the Akatsuki leader's ability to summon more than one animal, and the lions were his mother's summon. They agreed to let him sign the contract, and Naruto signed it before he summoned a lion as big as Gamabunta, who was exited since he ain't been summoned in a long time. "Kudum, is that you?" roared the lion. "I'm here, but I wasn't the one to summon you, it was Kushina's son," said the old man. "Kushina's son, where is he?" roared the lion. "I'm right here," said Naruto on top of the big lion. As soon as Naruto jumped down and the lion could see him, the big summon started laughing. "What's your name?" said the lion, laughing. "I'm Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto, the future Hokage of Konoha," said Naruto, striking a pose. "I am Shishio, the alpha lion," said the big summon before he disappeared in a puff of smokes, and so did all the other summons. Jiraiya walked up to Naruto and put an arm around him. Naruto looked up to see his sensei smiling at him, he smiled back and they went inside. For the first time, Naruto could take the swords out of their sheaths to take a closer look at them. He took out the Namikaze sword out its sheath and started looking at the sword, with his eyes widened at the amazing sword. The handle was wild, and the sword itself seemed to glow in the dark room. He touched it and instantly cut himself due to the sharpness of the sword. He put it away and took out the Uzumaki family sword. The handle of the sword was black, with red Uzumaki swirl all over it. The body of the sword was blood red with a black roaring lion on each side. Naruto didn't like fighting with weapons, but he really loved the swords, and being one of the few reminders of his parents, made them even more precious to him. Naruto looked over the swords a few more times before he put them away to go to sleep. 1 month later, over the past month, Naruto learned summoning tricks from Jiraiya like the Gamaguchi Shibari. Naruto learned nothing but summoning tricks from Jiraiya and his granddad Kudum. He was getting impatient of not learning any ninjutsu yet because Jiraiya told him that that's what he was working on last. He was getting ready to learn one of Jiraiya's infiltration jutsus, so he was outside sitting on a rock meditating. Jiraiya walked out of the compound and saw Naruto meditating, so he smiled at the boy. "Come here, Gaki," said Jiraiya, and Naruto got up and walked toward him. "Today I'm going to teach one of my infiltration jutsus, watch closely," said Jiraiya, looking serious. He created a clone and told Naruto to create one also, which just stood in front of them without moving. He did some hand seals, then said Ninpu. Gamma Daira Keiji Itsuri no Jutsu Ninja Art. Toad Flat Shadow Control Jutsu, and he turned into Naruto's clone Shadow, which was flat on the ground, and started to make the clone walk away from Naruto. Naruto looked at him in awe because he thought that only the Nara's knew shadow-related jutsus. Jiraiya dropped the jutsu and showed Naruto all the hand seals for performing ninjutsus and told him to perform all of them in order at least 100 times before he showed him the hand seals for the jutsu he performed. Naruto put his hand in the cross shape and said Tajuwu Kage Bunshin no Jutsu Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu, and 100 clones appeared around him. They all started doing the hand seals to memorize all of them, and over time they increased the speed at which they performed the seals. Naruto dispelled some of the clones every 5 minutes and gained the experience that they had doing the seals until he could perform all the hand seals in 5 seconds. When he finished, Jiraiya showed him the hand seals for the jutsu and Naruto performed them before he said Ninpu. Gamma Daira Keiji Itsuri no Jutsu Ninja Art. Toad Flat Shadow Control Jutsu, and nothing happened. Jiraiya walked up to him. "You should concentrate on the jutsu and don't put too much chakra," said Jiraiya. Naruto closed his eyes and started thinking about his meditating sessions. He opened his eyes again and did the hand seals, then said Ninpu. Gamma Daira Keiji Itsuri no Jutsu Ninja Art. Toad Flat Shadow Control Jutsu, and his shadow took over Jiraiya's clone Shadow and he saw that he could control the clone's movements and such. Naruto started jumping around, still controlling the clone, so the jutsu got cancelled when he failed to concentrate. But Sasuke, flashback 3 weeks earlier, Kabuto returned to the Sound Village alone and tired after the long travel from the Whirlpool. He looked around and saw no one, so he decided to go inside the hideout. He knew where to find his master, so he went straight to the training ground to find the Hibi Sennin training the young Uchiha. His clothes were still dirty from when Kichizen kicked him in the chest. He walked in the training ground and saw Sasuke working on the Chidori with Orochimaru. "Kabuto, you're back, where is the sword?" said Orochimaru, licking his lips. "They wouldn't make it," said Kabuto, looking at his master. "Did you kill them?" said Orochimaru with anger in his voice. "No, I barely escaped with my life, and all the sound ninjas I went with got killed," said Kabuto. "What? How many did you take with you?" said Orochimaru with anger in his voice. 50 of them, said Kabuto. "What?" thought Orochimaru. "And an old man said if you ever go back there that you'll be killed," said Kabuto seriously. "They dare threaten me," laughed Orochimaru. "We just to find another way to get Sasuke a sword," said Orochimaru with a wicked smile. Flashback end. Orochimaru was training Sasuke in Kenjutsu since he found another blacksmith to make the sword that he wanted for the young Uchiha. Sasuke was panting, and Orochimaru was just taunting him about Itachi to make him continue to train and let the curse seal take over him. Sasuke was faster than Orochimaru himself now, and he was just copying Orochimaru's sword movement. He was dodging the sword strikes, but he couldn't a single hit on the Snake Eyes Sannin due to his snake-like flexibility. Sasuke was getting frustrated not being able to land a single hit on the snake summoner and thinking about his brother killing his whole family. In Konoha, Shikamaru and Choji finished their training with their family jutsus, so now they had to go train with their sensei Asuma. The boys walked slowly toward their training ground, especially Shikamaru who didn't even want to go. They finally made it to the training ground and saw their sensei smoking a cigarette standing under a tree. Choji and Shikamaru was in their team training session to train with their sensei Asuma. "Okay, today we work to improve your close combat skills," said Asuma, putting the smoke away. "Troublesome," said Shikamaru sitting down, "since you all have your clan styles. I'll create some clones that you can practice and that will help you improve," said Asuma smiling at the boys. "Then we can work on your control and stamina," said Asuma. Asuma created 5 shadow clones so that the boys could practice against, and with that their session started. Shikamaru suddenly got serious as hell, but he still didn't want to do it. The clones went against them one by one, and the boys was getting pounded by Asuma's clones, but over time they dispelled all of them, since Shikamaru said Kajime no Jutsu Shadow Possession Jutsu and caught all of them in his family's jutsu, and Choji finished them also using his family's expansion jutsu. "Okay, good teamwork," said Asuma clapping. "Now for stamina and control, you know what to do," said Asuma going back to sit under the tree. Shikamaru and Choji started running up and down a tree for the exercise. Ino, Sakura, Hinata, and Tenten was doing the dodging exercise with Tsunade, and neither of them was getting hit by the ball, since they got used to it already. Now after doing all those exercise of Tsunades and training with their sensei, Hinata had the most chakra out of all of them, followed by Tenten and Ino with Sakura in last. Hinata had spent all her time either training with her father in Niji or with Tsunade and the girls. She started growing out of her shyness and started to be more outgoing with her friends and family. Danzo was going straight to the academy and taking those students who didn't pass the Genin exam to place them in his root program. He now had about 50 kids in the root Anbu without Tsunade knowing about it. He trained them to make them strong and placed seals on their tongues so that they wouldn't reveal anything about what he was doing and about him in case they got caught in a mission or something. He wanted to put some of the clan kids in the program, but he never got the chance and didn't want to get killed by the clan head. He tried to get Niji to join back in the academy, but the young prodigy declined the offer, which frustrated the old warhawk. He tried hard to recruit Naruto to turn him into a weapon, but the Sandaime Hokage stopped his plan. Now he was looking for some new recruits for his program. With Naruto, they finished the day with Naruto learning 2 more infiltration jutsus from his sensei Jiraiya. He was happy that he was still strong without learning any attack or defense ninjutsus yet. He was happy that his sensei took his time to train him properly. He had learned all of the infiltration jutsus that Jiraiya taught him. Now over the next year he would learn his sensei, his dad, and his mom's legacy. He was to learn how to make swords from Kudum, how to be a spy from Jiraiya and Itachi, and concealment from all of them. Kisame was taking the time to bond with his new summon animal, and so was Itachi. Right now they were in the summoning realm. In the summoning realm, the Lion Alpha and the elders went to visit the Toads because now they had to be friends since they had one common summoner. The lions and the toads got along great because they started talking about their past summoner and found out that their last summoners were married to each other. Jiraiya was currently inside reading over the notes that Minato left about Naruto's seal. He wanted to see how many tails the boy could control without losing control to the beast. He was going to test that in the next year when the boy's chakra increased. 2 years later, Naruto and Jiraiya finished the training trip and was getting ready to do a little traveling before they went back to the Hidden Leaf village. Naruto learned everything that Kudum, Jiraiya, and Kashima had to teach him. Naruto mastered all of the infiltration jutsus that his sensei taught him and the concealment jutsus that Itachi and Kisame taught, and he even exchanged some jutsus with them. He started working on finishing the Rasengan after he read the scroll that his father left him. He learned the Flying Thunder God jutsu, but all of them could still defeat him if it was a serious to the death match, so he knew he had to grow stronger. The Uzumakis that had to go to the village had already left with a letter from Jiraiya for them to enter the village and a letter for Tsunade to guide them to the compound that Kushina bought before she married Minato for them to stay for the time being before they summoned the real Uzumaki compound in the Leaf Village. Kushina bought the mansion because after she gave birth to Naruto, she was about to go to the Whirlpool and see if any of her family survived to live in the big compound. The compound was as big as the Hyuga compound because she knew her family would rebuild the Uzumaki family in the village, at least that was her dream. Kudum and the rest came with nothing because they knew that Naruto and Jiraiya would summon their compound to the village with everything in it already. The Uzumaki and Namikaze accounts made up half of the village's economy and they would make grow over the years. "Hello," Hokage-sama bowed Kenji and his wife. "Hello, Uzumaki-san," said Tsunade. Kenji handed her the letter and sat down where Tsunade pointed for them to seat. Tsunade opened the letter. "Dear Bachan, this is my Jiji, uncles and their wives. Hiro Sennin said that there is a compound that my mom bought for them before she died and they're going to be living in it. Hiro Sennin tested them, except for the women since they're pregnant and they're Anbu level. I don't know what that means. I finished my training and will be back in about 3 months. Naruto Uzumaki. That's brat calling me old, thought Tsunade angry. So as the letter states, you will be living in the village, said Tsunade, looking at the old man and Kenji. Yes, Hokage-sama, answered Kenji before Kudum could say anything because he knew the old man would get on the Hokage's nerve. Do any of you have ninja training, asked Tsunade looking at Kenji. All of us, but some of the women are pregnant, answered Kenji smiling looking at his wife. Who will lead the clan, asked Tsunade. That would be Kudum-sama, answered Kenji. Hell no, said Kudum getting up. And who are you, said Tsunade with a vein on her forehead. Kudum Uzumaki, father of Kushina Uzumaki, said Kudum proudly. And why won't you lead the clan, said Tsunade. Jiraiya-san told me that I would have to sit in a council made up of a bunch of stuck-up civilians, and I won't do it. Kenji is the new leader, I'll be one of the clan's elders, said Kudum laughing at the end. Damn you, Jiraiya, Kenji and Tsunade to themselves. And most of the clan heads are around his age, so he'll fit in better than me, said Kudum smirking. He got me, thought Kenji. You got a point there, said Tsunade. That's Naruto's grandfather, ha, thought Tsunade smiling. And do you know the current rank of the ninjas, said Tsunade. All of us high down in level and Kudum-sama cage level. That's what Jiraiya-san said after he fought all of us, said Kenji thinking back. Cage level, ha, said Tsunade looking at the old man. Yes, old lady, said Kudum. Tsunade got up to go pound the old man to the ground, but Shizune stopped her and he just sucked his tongue out at her like a little kid. Calm down, lady, Tsunade, said Shizune. You really are Naruto's granddad, said Shizune to the old man. You will not be able to get active duty since you're the head of the family, but the others except the wives and Kudum will be placed in the Anbu under me and the kids will be sent to the academy, said Tsunade looking at Kenji and glaring at Kudum. Why can't I be an active ninja, asked Kudum laughing. Because you're too old, answered Tsunade glaring at the old man. You want to take this outside, said Kudum looking at Tsunade. Let's go, old man, yelled Tsunade. Calm down, lady, Tsunade, said Shizune. Dad, calm down, yelled Kenji looking at the old man. She started it, said Kudum laughing. He started it, said Tsunade to Shizune. Whatever, said Kudum. Kenji-san, your wife and the other women will be active when I see them fit, said Tsunade to the clan leader. Until then, rest. I will have someone guide you to your new home. Dog, said Tsunade. A man in Anbu clothes and gravity-defying hair appeared in the office in a puff of white smokes on one knee in front of the Hokage. Yes, Hokage-sama, said Kakashi. This here is Naruto's family. Please take them to the compound that Kushina-san bought. You know where it is, right, said Tsunade to the lazy Anbu head. Hi, said Kakashi. And please bring them to the council room later, said Tsunade. Please follow me, said Kakashi to the man in long orange-red hair and the lady in long black hair. They followed Kakashi out the Hokage tower and they started walking toward the compound which was next to the Inyazuka compound. They walked and saw all the stores and some of them were closed down. They arrived at the compound and Kakashi left them there with the key in their hand. They opened the door and went in to see a beautiful garden in the front. They walked through the garden and went inside the compound to rest before their meeting with the Hokage later on. They cleaned the compound and settled in for now. Down in an underground room, an old man covered in bandages with only one eye showing was standing with a shinobi in a white mask kneeled in front of him. Danzo-sama, it seems some people moved in the village a while ago, said the root member. Who are they, said Danzo. They're Uzumakas from the former Whirlpool village, said the root member. I went there and didn't find a single person, said Danzo. How many, asked Danzo. I don't have that information right now, said the root member. Where are they living now, said Danzo. In a compound bought by the former Anbu captain Kushina Uzumaki, answered the root member. Did they seem strong? Asked Danzo. They all seemed very strong, especially the old man, said the root member. Maybe I can get them to join with us, said Danzo. Yes sir, said the root member. 10 of you will infiltrate the compound and steal all the scrolls there, said Danzo. Yes sir, answered the root member, disappearing. I will get those jutsus of the Uzumakas, thought Danzo. Later, everyone was in the council room thinking what could be the reason that they were having this meeting, except for Danzo who already knew why she was having the meeting. She told Kakashi and Tenzo to go find the Uzumakis and bring them to the council room. "Why are we having this meeting right now?" said Homura, one of the advisors of the Hokage. "Shut up and wait," yelled Tsunade. "My wife will have my head if I'm late home," said Shikaku, going back to sleep. "Shikaku, wake up, you lazy bastard," said Tsunade, throwing a kunai at the man, which he caught and gave it to the person who was nearest to him, thinking it was too troublesome to hand back to the Hokage. "But, Lady Tsunade," said Shikaku. "No buts, wake the hell up," said Tsunade, but Shikaku just put his head up and went to sleep sitting straight up. Kakashi and Tenzo came back with Kenji and Kudum, who was chatting with the Anbu captain. Kudum looked around, saw everybody looking at them, and Kakashi and Tenzo just went and stood behind the Hokage like they should. "Pat, please create a chair for Uzumaki-san for me," said Tsunade, smiling. "Did you say Uzumaki?" said Inoichi and Shikaku. "Yes, we have a new council seat in the council for the Uzumakas," said Tsunade, looking at everybody. "I thought that Naruto was the last Uzumaki," said Choza, surprised. "Naruto and Jiraiya found them when they went to the Whirlpool," said Tsunade, smiling at Kenji before she glared at the old man, remembering earlier. "Didn't you think we needed to know about it before you let them in?" said Homura, the old man advisor. "No, not really," answered Tsunade simply. "And why is that?" asked Kaharu, the old lady. "Because I didn't want to," answered Tsunade, looking at the old lady, who was now mad as fuck. "Why?" asked Homura. "Because from now on the civilian side of the council don't have no say in shinobi business," said Tsunade, getting tired of them asking her all those questions. "You can't do that, we have power to do what we want," said Homura, getting up. "You have power over business that has to do with civilians," yelled Tsunade, getting up from her seat. "Excuse me, I'm still here," said Kudum, jumping in the conversation. "Oh yeah, everyone, this is Uzumaki Kenji, the head of the Uzumaki clan, and Uzumaki Kudum, Naruto's grandfather," said Tsunade, pointing at Kenji, then at Kudum. "Who cares about the little demon's clan?" yelled a mid-aged lady with pink hair. Kudum took out two swords in the blink of an eye, and Kenji had his sword already at the lady's throat, with a speed unseen by everyone in the room. Kudum released a killing intent, having even Tsunade and everyone 2 blocks of the council room on guard. He walked toward the lady slowly with 2 swords in his hand. "I heard people talking how good the Uzumakas were with swords, but I thought they were playing," thought Tenzo, who was still standing behind Tsunade. "Such speed with the sword," thought Hiashi. "Can I kill her?" asked Kudum softly but in a dangerous voice. "No, as much as I want to do it myself, if Naruto found out that someone was killed for him he wouldn't like that," said Tsunade, still standing in her place. Kudum stopped releasing the killing intent and everyone went back to normal. Kenji put his sword away and walked back to the place he was standing at first. "Talk about my grandson like that again, I will have your ugly head as a punishment," said Kudum, walking back. Everybody smelled something coming from the lady before she excused herself from the meeting to go home. "Did she just shit on herself?" yelled Tsume, laughing her ass off. "This is too good," yelled Tsume, again still laughing. "Yes," said Shikaku with a smile on his face. "I like you already, Uzumaki," said Tsume, laughing. "Kenji, please have a seat," said Tsunade, pointing at the chair made by Tenzo, which was between Choza and Shikaku's seats. Kenji walked up there and took a seat. Shikaku put his head up a little and looked at the red-head man, still with a bored expression, but now he smiled at man. "We going to a bar after this meeting, you want to come?" asked Shikaku. "Sure, but we can't stay too late or my wife will have my head," said Kenji with a smile. "I was about to say the same thing," said Shikaku. "I'm Nara Shikaku, by the way," said Shikaku, putting his hand out. "Uzumaki Kenji," said Kenji, shaking his hand. "Meeting dismissed," said Tsunade. Everybody got up and was walking toward the building's exit. Kudum was the first one to get out the building. Outside the building everyone went to a bar to have some fun before they had to go home. Kenji ordered a bunch of drinks for himself, his dad and his new friends. They drunk and got drunk and everybody got ready to go home. Kenji and Kudum was drunker than a motherfucker and they were walking home since they wanted to see around the village. They got close to their home and Kudum sensed people outside and Kenji did too, but they act like they didn't know that the shinobis were around. Danzo's minions saw the two coming and that they couldn't even walk straight, so they were going to take advantage of the situation when the old man whispered something in Kenji's ear and the clan head just walked off and stood against the wall, leaving the old man by himself. "Phil," both of them whispered the leader to the root members. "Hi," they answered before taking out their Anbu sword and running toward the old man. Kenji smiled when Kudum started doing some hand seals before he took out his sword, then said Uzumaki's secret technique. Multiple sword of the Whirlpool and pointed his swords toward the incoming root members. His swords multiply into a bunch of swords with no handle and shot toward the incoming root members and killed all of them before the duplicates of the swords disappeared like a shadow clone. The leader quickly got away from the two deadly Uzumakas to report to his master. Kudum went inside his home, leaving the bodies with all the sword holes in their body on the ground so that people could see them the next day. Someone saw everything that happened since he lived right next door. With Danzo was in the underground bars waiting for the Uzumakas' jutsu scrolls. He saw what they could do with the sword and wanted them to be on his side, at least their skills. His root soldier arrived in front of him breathless and alone. "What happened?" asked Danzo. "The old man killed all of them with one jutsu," answered the root member. "Damn it," yelled Danzo in his mind. "Dismissed," said Danzo. The root member left and went back to training the new recruits that they got from the academy. The next day, Kakashi was going to get the Uzumakis so that they could get their Anbu mask. When he saw all the bodies on the ground, he immediately called for the Hokage, and she got in front of the compound and saw the bodies with multiple holes on their bodies on the ground with their Anbu swords in their hands, but she knew that they weren't from her Anbu division. He called for Kudum outside to explain everything. "What happened here?" asked Tsunade, pointing to the bodies on the ground. "Humming from a bar, sensed them around the compound, attacked me, killed them," said Kudum laughing. "What do you know what they wanted?" asked Tsunade. "Nope, but one of them escaped," said Kenji coming out the compound. "Who could have sent them?" thought Tsunade. Kudum looked at the bodies on the ground and smiled before he went back inside to sleep. "I suggest you find who sent those ninjas to attack us," said Kenji walking to stand against the wall. "Please bring those able to go on active duty to my office please," said Tsunade, disappearing back to her office. Kenji went inside and told everybody to get ready to go to the Hokage's office. They all got ready and headed toward the office with smiles on their faces. They got to the office and went in. When they went in the office they saw Kudum sitting on a chair inside the office. "Uzumaki-san, you will not be on active duty," yelled Tsunade again. "Why not?" asked Kudum. "Because you have other duty to take care of," yelled Tsunade. "Like what?" yelled Kudum. "Like the financial business," said Tsunade, glaring at the old man. "The shops that Kushina bought before she died," said Tsunade, seeing the man's confused face. "Which one of you want to be a regular jounin, and who wants to be in the Anbu?" asked Tsunade, looking at them. "Jounin, I want to be with my wife more," said Kichizan. "Jounin," said Kenly. "Jounin," said Kutai. "Jounin," said Kyoki. "Jounin," said Kunan. "Anbu," said Shinen. "Anbu," said Kenzu. "Anbu," said Jiren. "Anbu," said Yukano. "Shizune, please bring me some Anbu equipment," said Tsunade. Shizune went in a closet that was in the room and took out 4 Anbu outfits and gave them to Tsunade with 4 masks, a polar bear, a rat, a dolphin, and a duck. "Joe," said Tsunade. "Duck," yelled Kenzu, jumping around. "Rat," said Yukano, who was a master at hiding. "What the hell, I wanted that," said Jiren with a frown on his face. "Too slow then, idiot," yelled Yukano. "I guess I'll take dolphin then," said Jiren. "So, I guess the last one is for me," said Shinen, taking the mask from the Hokage. "Shizune, please bring me Jounin jacket," said Tsunade. "I don't want one, I like the clothes that I'm wearing now," said Kutai, walking back to stand against a wall, and the other 2 ladies agreed with her. "Bring 2," said Tsunade. Shizune gave her the 2 jackets, and she gave one to Kenly and one to Kichizan. "You are now officially shinobis of Konoha," said Tsunade, smiling at them. "Pat, please take them to the Anbu HQ to see where they fit," said Tsunade. "Please follow me," said the Anbu member with the cat mask. "Now, Kudum-san, do you want Kushina's old account under your name or Kenji's?" asked Tsunade, glaring at the old man. "Kenji, is that all, old lady?" said Kudum, looking at Tsunade, laughing. "Get out my office, we'll talk later," yelled Tsunade, glaring at the old man. To be continued. Chapter 5. The Return of Naruto. Anbu Equator Konoha. The newly appointed Anbu member walked to the headquarters with their hands behind their head like a yellow-haired boy known around the village for behind a prankster. They walked in the headquarters and saw a bunch of other Anbu standing in a line waiting for them. In the line was Marino Ibiki, Anko, man in a bear mask and man in a dog mask. They stood up waiting for whatever they were supposed to do. "Welcome, would you please state an area that you can work in? There's combat, retrieval, and interrogation," said the man in the dog mask. "I'm very good with hand-to-hand combat, so I'll choose combat," said Jiren, walking toward the man in the dog mask. "I'll take interrogation," said Yukano with a smile under the mask. He took off his mask and his eyes had an evil look in them. "You're not supposed to take off your mask, idiot," yelled Shinen, taking off her mask. "You just took off yours," yelled Yukano back to the girl in dark black hair. "I'll take retrieval," said Kenzu without saying anything else. "I'll take combat," said Shinen, walking toward the man in the dog mask. "What are you scared of?" a little interrogating laughed Anko. Shinen was suddenly behind her with her sword in her throat. "Oh shit, Captain, you might want to get away from here," said Jiren, going to stand against the wall. Kakashi did as he was told, not wanting to stop the cat fight. "Shit," Anko thought before she did some hand seal, then said Tsunade Jashu hidden shadow snake hands and 3 snakes came out her sleeve to restrain the girl. Shinen just did some flip back and cut all the snake's head off. Anko took out some kunes and threw them at her with deadly accuracy, but she dodged some and blocked those she couldn't dodge with her sword. She threw the sword in the air and did some hand seals, then said Uzumaki's secret technique. Raining sword of the Whirlpool, and the sword duplicated and fell toward Anko. Anko threw some kunes hoping to deflect the raining swords, but she couldn't. Just then Yukano jumped in the air after some fast hand seals, then said Uzumaki's secret technique. Multiple sword of the Whirlpool which hit all the raining swords, deflecting them to the wall. The duplicates of the swords disappeared out of existence in a poof of smoke, and Shinen appeared in front of Anko and threw a punch at her. Anko blocked the punch with her left hand and tried to kick the girl, but Shinen ducked before the kick could connect. Shinen sent a powerful kick toward Anko, but the snake summoner dodged it, twisting her body almost snake-like. Shinen kept throwing punches and kicks very fast, but Anko was still twisting her body snake-like to dodge them. She jumped in the air and started doing some hand seals for a jutsu, but before she could finish, Shinen appeared behind her and kicked her to the ground with a very powerful kick. Anko hit the ground with a thud and Shinen landed on the ground and picked up her sword. She started walking toward the girl on the ground before all of the people around jumped in front of her, stopping her. Well damn, I fucked with a girl that can kill me, thought Anko, relieved. What the fuck, yelled Shinen, walking toward Yukano. Nai-chan, I'm SSS sorry, pleaded Yukano to his older sister before she kicked him in the gut. Shut up, don't be taking that slut's side, yelled Shinen, about to kick him again. Who the hell you calling a slut, yelled Anko, glaring at the girl. You dress like one, yelled Shinen. That's a very distracting outfit when fighting men, yelled Anko, showing off her legs. Slutty, need a distraction to win, yelled Shinen, laughing. Shut up tramp, you just jealous you don't have a body like mine, yelled Anko. Want to see slut, yelled Shinen, taking off her top, staying only in a sport bra, revealing a nicely toned body with nice curves. Ooh, yelled the man in the dog mask. Watch it, pervert, yelled Shinen, looking at the man. Yes ma'am, said Kakashi, shutting up. Please stop, yelled Ibiki with a sadistic smile on his face. I'll get you for this later, Yukano, said Shinen, walking away from the man on the ground. I said I was sorry, pleaded Yukano. Unknown location. In an unknown cave, 7 figures hologram was standing around on a big statue. The cave was damp and unremarkable, a simple blip of geography that no one cared to explore. It was dark, vast and completely underground, stalactites and stalagmites silently chomping the empty air. In fact, there was only one somewhat unique aspect to this cave, despite its natural appearance. This cave was covered in discrete seals that could be used as a focal point in emergencies. Thus, the perfect meeting place for Akatsuki to send their shades. It's been a long time since we gathered together like this, said the leader. It seems that Itachi and Kisame have been killed, said the leader. What? I wanted to be the one to kill him, yelled Deidara. We need 2 replacements for them, said the leader. Tobi is a good boy, let Tobi join, jumped a young looking boy with an orange mask. Setsu, give Tobi Itachi's ring, said the leader with the rings around his pupil. We need to find a replacement for Kisame and some more backup members, said the leader. All of you, find Raiga, Doki, and any other useful members, said leader. After that, go after the host of Shukaku, said the leader. Me and Deidara will go after Gaara of the desert, said Sasori, the puppet master. Konoha. Everybody was out having lunch because they came from a mission. Kiba and Choji were having an eating contest, while the rest of them were just eating. Shikamaru was playing shogi with Shino in the corner, who seemed to be enjoying the game. Shikamaru trained his hardest the past year, matter of fact they all did. Shikamaru trained with his dad on advanced version of his clan jutsus, so did all the other kids from clans. Sakura and Ino learned Tsunade mantra strength and was still trying to master it. Tenten and Hinata didn't want to learn the strength technique because Hinata preferred to be gentle but still deadly in a fight, and Tenten wanted to stick with being a weapon mistress. All 4 of them mastered the medical training with Tsunade and helped at the hospital when they weren't on missions. Niji trained with Hinata and Hiashi to better his skills and was nicer to the main branch since Hiashi told him what happened with his dad. Hinata wasn't seem weak anymore since she almost killed one of the elder Hyugas. Flashback. It was 1 week after Naruto left for his training trip with the Gama Sennin. Hinata was in the family training ground training with Hanabi, Niji, and Hiashi. There was also some of the elders present to watch the training session. Hinata was still a little down about Naruto leaving, so she wasn't really concentrating on her spar with her little sister, which she always held back against. She was losing to Hanabi when one of the elders made a comment. She's not fit to be the heiress of the clan, yelled the old man. Hinata-san, don't worry about it. He will come back, said Niji with a quick smile which was barely seen from him. Hi, said Hinata. Naruto, thought Hinata. Who are you talking about, said the elder. I think young Uzumaki, said Hiashi. You should not let her associate with his kind, yelled the old man. What do you mean his kind, said Hinata with venom and anger in her eyes. Don't talk to me that way, weakling. And I mean a demon scum like the Uzumaki, said the old man. I will not have you talking about my daughter or the boy that way, said Hiashi, standing up. To say that everyone was surprised would be an understatement. Say that again, yelled Hinata. Demon scum, said the old man. Hinata made a quick movement that the old man couldn't see and hit him in the face with a Jaiuken. She hit in the stomach, then kicked him the old-fashioned way in the balls. The old man spent a week in the medical area of the compound not able to feel his face. Flashback end. You guys heard that some of Naruto's family moved in the village, said Ino, getting in her gossip mode. Naruto is an orphan, said Sakura, sounding completely stupid. That doesn't mean he don't have any family, said Tenten, looking at her. They're from a village called the Whirlpool, and that Naruto's mom was an Anbu captain here, said Ino. The captain said Kiba and Shikamaru at the same time. Yes, and my dad told me that she was stronger than Lady Tsunade herself, said Ino with a smile. What, yelled all of them. She was known as the Red Death, said Ino with a smile once again. Believe me, my dad told me about her, said Ino. That doesn't sound like Naruto's mom, if she was that strong, said Sakura out of nowhere. What do you mean by that? Asked Shikamaru. Because Naruto was always weak, I bet I can beat him when he comes back, said Sakura. Hinata was getting angrier. Then, you think you can defeat me since Naruto defeated me in the Chunin exam, said Neji with his usual Hyuga face. You can defeat Gaara since Naruto summoned the toad who fought against the Kyuubi to defeat him, said Shikamaru looking at the girl. He would be mad if it wasn't too troublesome. But Toad, when the hell did Naruto start to summon toads? Thought Sakura. Sasuke told her that Naruto was the one to defeat Gaara, but she started laughing thinking that Sasuke was playing. She believed that Sasuke told her that it was Naruto so that she could leave him alone. Sasuke was always stronger and will always be stronger than him, yelled Sakura walking for the exit. Calm down, Hinata, said Neji looking at Hinata getting ready to beat the girl. Sasuke was strong, but he couldn't defeat him. He was mad that the one they called the Dobe in the academy was catching up to him, said Kakashi, appearing out of nowhere with the orange book in his face. What? How come he almost got killed by Sasuke then, said Sakura looking at her sensei angry. Because he made a promise to you that you didn't really deserve. He said he would bring Sasuke back to you. If he killed him he wouldn't hold his promise now, would he, said Shikamaru sitting up. In other words, he held back against Sasuke, which to me was very unyouthful, said Lee giving the thumbs up. Naruto, thought Sakura. I'm sorry, said Sakura with tears in her eyes sitting back where she sat before. Save it, always think a few tears can get you anything. It didn't get you, precious Uchiha, to stay. It won't work her. Anyway, continue, said Shikamaru. So, what happened to her, said Neji getting interested in the story. She died giving birth to Naruto, said Kakashi putting the book down before he left without a trace. What the hell, he just left, thought all the kids. You guys heard of Kushina, right, asked Ino. Yes, said Neji and Hinata. That's Naruto's mom, said Ino. No way, my mom used to talk about a Kushina lady all the time. I thought she was making things up, said Kiba with his eyes widened. That's my mom's old friend, said Hinata with a smile. Naruto, said Sakura. Then that Kushina lady's dad is still alive. Matter of fact, I forgot to tell you guys, but one night Naruto's granddad and his uncle was coming home drunk and there was 10 Anbu guys waiting to ambush them. They wasn't no regular Anbu, since they dressed different. I couldn't sleep, so I was on the roof of my house and the old man whispered something in the other guy's ear and the guy went and stood against the wall. 9 of those fake Anbu guys ran toward the old man to kill him, but he killed all 9 of them with one jutsu. His sword glowed and a bunch of sword shot toward the fake Anbu guys. I was like, wow, awesome, said Kiba finishing the story. You can't be serious, said Shikamaru putting his head up a little. Dead serious, he killed them with one jutsu and he couldn't even walk straight since he was so drunk, said Kiba laughing at the end. Wow was all Choji could say. But he was drunk and killed 9 shinobis with one jutsu, yelled Tenten looking around. You making this up, said Ino looking at Kiba. I'm telling you, said Kiba looking back at the girl. My dad told me that the old man named Kudum made some council member shit on herself for talking about Naruto, said Shikamaru eating his food. My mom told me that too and I was laughing my ass off, but she wouldn't tell me what the lady looked like, laughed Kiba. My dad told me about that too, I thought he was playing, said Choji laughing. Then I can't wait till Naruto comes back so I can test my flames of youth against him, said Lee, striking a cool guy's pose giving the thumbs up. I guess I'll have to wait for my friend to come back. So troublesome, said Shikamaru looking around. I'm not going to fight him, I'm not crazy anymore. I know when somebody can kick my ass, said Kiba grinning. A month later, the streets of Konoha was quiet except for the 3 kids chasing down a cat. The kids ran after the cat, but with no luck of catching it. It was the Konohamaru Corps doing a mission of catching the evil, twisted, demonic cat Tora. Konohamaru was running full speed toward the cat and it was the same time that old man Ichiraku was coming out his raiment stand to deliver an order. He ran into the old man and dropped the food but kept running. Naruto yelled at Ichiraku. Sorry old man, it's me, said Konohamaru. Oh, Naruto is not back yet, said the old man thinking about his favorite customer. Konohamaru yelled old man Ichiraku. Konohamaru ran after the cat across the whole village. He finally cornered the evil cat in a little alley behind a clothing store. Guys, I have him cornered, said Konohamaru. Go and said Uden boy with a drippy nose. Konohamaru ran straight for the cat and caught it. The cat scratched his face, but he still held on to the evil cat. Konohamaru tied the cat's legs and went to meet with his other teammates. In the Hokage Tower, Konohamaru handed the cat to its owner and was waiting for another mission. The cat was being tortured by a hug given to him by the daimyo's wife. It kept trying to get away from the fat woman so badly, but she just ignored the cat's plea for her to stop. She kept hugging the cat and the cat's eyes started to come out by the pressure of the hug. No wonder, it keeps running away, said Konohamaru under his breath. Konohamaru-kun, said the girl of the team sending him a look. Okay, we have another D-rank mission, said Iruka, who was interrupted by Konohamaru, who sat on the floor of the office. I'm not doing no D-rank mission, said Konohamaru turning his back toward his former teacher. But Konohamaru, you're just a rookie genin fresh out the academy, said Iruka, remembering that Naruto did the same thing after a D-rank mission. How do you expect me to show my skills doing these lame missions? After all, I'm going to be the 7th Hokage, said Konohamaru with a grin. Huh, why 7th, what about the 6th? Asked Tsunade, confused. Oh, that's going to be Naruto Nai-san, said Konohamaru with determination in his eyes. Naruto, where are you? Thought Iruka. Oh, he's supposed to come back tomorrow, said Tsunade with a smile. By the main gate, Izumo and Kitetsu were doing their usual guard duty at the main gate. However, since they haven't had any visitors or any ninja returning from their mission, they were doing nothing but to watch the sunny bright sky. So they were very bored, at least Kitetsu felt that way because Izumo was snoring. The Chunin sweat dropped, knowing very well if the Hokage or any superior catches him sleeping on the job, he could get in big trouble. Not that it matters to him, because he didn't consider wrong for Izumo to sleep on the job, because their Hokage has also sleep in the middle of her job filling the paperwork. Man, it's so boring around here, said one of the guards. Yeah, yawned Izumo, putting his head up before going back to sleep again. Down the road, a young man in black ninja cargo pants with a kunai holder on the right thigh, his ankle to his lower calves, was covered by white bandages like Kakashi. He had on a no-sleeve skin-tight dark orange shirt, which showed his toned and defined muscles perfectly under a dark orange coat with black flames coming from the bottom edge. Some black fingerless gloves with a seal for Namikaze on the left hand and a seal for Uzumaki on the right. He was standing 6 foot tall, a little shorter than the man walking beside him. His yellow hair was wild and reached his shoulder, making him an almost exact replica of the 4th Hokage. He walked down the road with his hands behind his head, slowly trying to keep pace with his sensei. Ghost, yelled Kitetsu, one of the guards. What, yelled Izumo, quickly getting up from his sleep. It's the ghost of the 4th Hokage, said Kitetsu, ready to run. Jiraiya and Naruto finally made it to the gate, and Jiraiya did some quick hand seals, then said Kuchiya's no jutsu summoning jutsu. There was a poof of smoke when the smoke cleared. 2 guards saw Jiraiya doing what looked a kabuki dance on top of a mid-sized toad. I'm the man with enemies from west to east. I'm the one who men envy, women desire and kids want to be. I'm the Toad Sage, everyone watch in awe when I battle, the gallants of the world, respected and feared all around the world. Jiraiya! Exclaimed Jiraiya, finishing in one last pose on top of the toad. Jiraiya Sama, you're back, and you have the ghost of the 4th with you, said Kitetsu, smiling. Wait, you have the ghost of the 4th with, yelled Kitetsu, realizing what he said. Yes, he's come back to punish the village for the way they treated his son, said Jiraiya with a grin. Naruto started to laugh at his sensei's sense of humor. The 4th never had a kid, said the other guard, looking terrified. That's because he wanted it kept a secret, said Jiraiya, still grinning. Ooh, yelled Kitetsu, looking like he's about to shit on himself. I'm just playing with you, said Jiraiya, laughing with Naruto besides him laughing his ass off also. That smile, the whisker marks, that's Naruto, said the other guard, looking at Naruto thinking. Hey, said Naruto, putting the peace sign up. Welcome back, dude, said Kitetsu, laughing. Thanks, said Naruto, smiling. Hiro-senin, I have to go see someone, tell Bachan I'll be back. And put this somewhere in the office for me. Make sure Bachan doesn't see it, said Naruto, walking down the streets after he handed Jiraiya a seal. Naruto walked down the streets of the village with a big smile on his face. How he has missed the place so much. The buildings, the familiar restaurants, the familiar atmosphere, even the weather. Konoha was always gifted with sunny days because it rarely rains. As he walked through the streets, he has noticed in the far distant the Hokage Mountain monument. He smiled, seeing that Tsunade's face has been carved in the monument, proof as sign that she was the 5th Hokage. As he continues his wailing on the big village, he noticed that every single villager passing by has been staring at him for a while. It was obvious that they were thinking that he was the ghost of the 4th, or it was the simple fact that they knew who he was and they were all shocked to see him dressed like their precious hero. Or maybe the fact that the village was so quiet in his absence that they were glad he was back even though they didn't want to admit it. Sakura was about to go pick up the afternoon reports by the gates for Tsunade when she ran into Konohamaru and his 2 teammates. Konohamaru waved to her and she waved back. Hey, Sakura, where you going? Asked Konohamaru. I have to pick up some reports for Tsunade-sama, said Sakura, smiling at the boy. Then we come with you. I have to go see if my Nai-san came back yet, said Konohamaru. You mean Naruto? Asked Sakura, smiling. Yes, said Konohamaru, scratching the back of his head. They made it to the gate and saw the 2 guards in a better mood than usual. Sakura walked up to them and proceeded to greet them. Kitetsu and Izumo still had a smile on their faces from who they seen earlier. Sakura was walking toward them with a smile on her face, even though she ain't seen the yellow-head boy yet. Hello, Kitetsu-san, I came to pick up the afternoon report, said Sakura, smiling. Here you go. And by the way, he's back, said Kitetsu, handing Sakura the report. Who? Asked Sakura, confused. You'll see, said Kitetsu, smiling. Naruto Nai-san is back, said Konohamaru, running away from the group with a speed that even he didn't know he had. Konohamaru-kun, yelled the girl. Hokage Tower. Jiraiya popped in the office, scaring Tsunade, who was about to fall asleep. She swung at him, but he dodged the punch easily. Tsunade got up and hugged him with tears in her eyes. "You're back," said Tsunade with tears in her eyes. "Yes, you shouldn't cry," said Jiraiya hugging her back. "Where's Naruto?" said Tsunade. "Why? He got killed," said Jiraiya with a grin. "What?" yelled Tsunade taking him by the collar. "I'm just playing Haim, he went somewhere and told me he would be right back," said Jiraiya laughing. "Don't play like that, Baka," said Tsunade throwing him to the wall, but he managed and landed on his feet. Tsunade turned and looked out the window, so Jiraiya took the opportunity to put the seal in the wall. The seal got absorbed in the wall, and Jiraiya walked toward the desk and sat down. "How is he?" said Tsunade with a smile. "Just wait, you'll see," said Jiraiya with a smile. "I got 2 more people with me," said Jiraiya smiling looking at the blonde Hokage. Jiraiya did some hand seals, then said Kuchi's no jutsu summoning jutsu and summoned a toad which opened its mouth and Itachi and Kisame came out of its mouth. Itachi and Kisame looked at the blonde Hokage before greeting her. "Hello Hokage-sama," they both said to the blonde Hokage. "Uchiha Itachi, Kisame Hoshigaki," said the Hokage looking at the 2 missing nins. "They agreed to come back with me," said Jiraiya laughing. "What, do you know what will happen if the people find out about this?" yelled Tsunade. "They're not going to be Jounins, but straight to the Anbu," said Jiraiya serious. Jiraiya finally took out 2 masks from a scroll and handed one to Kisame and one to Itachi. Itachi had a crow mask while Kisame had a shark mask. Kisame sealed his giant sword in his right hand so he can use it when he needs it. "I will be in charge of them," said Jiraiya seriously. "You can't send them outside the village yet, their identity needs to stay a secret for now," said Jiraiya serious. "And they'll be leaving with me in Minato's compound," said Jiraiya. "Why?" asked Tsunade. "Because you don't know why Itachi killed his clan, but I do," said Jiraiya seriously. "Then I order you to tell me," yelled Tsunade serious. "Let's get some sake later, maybe I'll tell you Hokage-sama," said Jiraiya with sarcasm in his voice. "Hat, please take them with you," said Tsunade, and an Anbu and a cat mask appeared in a poof of smokes. "I'll be right back, Haim, I have a feeling that this is not going to be good," said Jiraiya disappearing in a swirl of leaves. "Hi," said Cat. He led Kisame and Itachi to the HQ which Itachi already knew perfectly since he was in the Anbu already. The 2 made it to the headquarters and stood there waiting for their place. Itachi looked around and saw only the training equipments changed from the time he was in the Anbu. "Who are you and what are your skills?" asked the man in the dog mask. "Kakashi-senpai, you came back to the Anbu," said Itachi in his usual no-emotion voice, taking off his mask to show his young face. Kisame did the same and grinned at the man in the dog mask, showing his shark teeth. Kakashi took out his Anbu katana and got in a fighting stance. "What the hell, what is that traitor doing here?" yelled Anko looking at the man. "Don't talk about things you don't, Anko-san, it might get you killed," said Itachi looking at the girl. "You kill me, I'd like to see that," yelled Anko looking at the young Uchiha. "You wouldn't want to test me now, would you?" said Itachi still in the same monotone voice. "Shit, I can't back down though, Anko." "Anko, this is an S-class shinobi, don't you know when to shut up?" said Ibiki. "Why are you always the one ending up in a fight?" said Kakashi looking at the girl. "Itachi, you disappoint me, you wasn't really going to fight, was you?" said Jiraiya appearing behind him. "And Anko, please don't try test one of my most loyal shinobi, please," said Jiraiya with a smile. "Senpai, Jiraiya-sama came with them," said the man in the cat mask. Kakashi, calm down, you're no longer in the Anbu, Naruto is back, said Jiraiya looking at the man. "Yes, Jiraiya-sama," said Kakashi calming down. "What's up with all that Sama thing, you people?" "My friend right, Ibiki," said Jiraiya looking at the man. "Pat, you're the new captain of the division," said Jiraiya looking at the man smiling. "Thank you, Jiraiya-sama," said the man in the cat mask. "Itachi, Kisame combat part-time, you guys can do anything right," said Jiraiya looking at them. Itachi nodded his head, and Kisame just grinned. "You know where the house is, see you," said Jiraiya disappearing in a swirl of leaves. With Naruto. Naruto appeared outside the Hyuga compound about 5 minutes ago in a strong gust of wind, which made him look like he was flying the way his coat was. He knocked on the door of the compound, the guards looked at him for a few minutes, with their usual no-emotion faces. Naruto was looking confused by the way the guards was looking at him. He stood up and put his hands behind his head and gave his usual smile. "Who are you?" asked one of the guards. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm looking for Hinata," answered Naruto. "It's you, I thought you was the ghost of the fourth," one of the guards said. "Everybody seems to think that," said Naruto looking at the guard laughing. "Please follow me, Naruto-san," said the first guard. Naruto followed him to the waiting area of the compound, while the guard then went upstairs and bowed in front of the door of a room. "Hinata-sama, you have a visitor," said the guard. "Okay, I'll be right out," said Hinata. Hinata came out her room wearing a lighter version of her previous outfit. She was wearing a net shirt under a lavender shirt with no sleeve, and over that was a long-sleeved thin lavender jacket. She had on some net pants under a pair of gray pants which reached her mid-thigh, her hair reached her back, and her skin was soft, and her face was really gentle. "Yellow hair, it can't be," thought Hinata smiling and starting to turn red. "Excuse me, but who are you?" said Hinata looking in front of her. "Huh, that hurts, Hinata-chan," said Naruto turning around. Hinata was about to faint when Naruto was suddenly behind her holding her up. Holy shit, is this Hinata, thought Naruto, looking in front of him with his eyes wide open. Don't go fainting on me now, said Naruto. Naruto-kun, yelled Hinata, turning tomato red in a second. Here Kami is that, Naruto-kun, thought Hinata, looking at his features. That's some progress, you don't stutter anymore, said Naruto, laughing. What are you doing here, said Hinata, looking at her longtime crush, blushing. I came to say what's up, and when is our date, said Naruto with a grin. What, said Hinata. He's really taking me on a date, thought Hinata. Wait, you forgot, said Naruto with his eyes widened. No, it's not that, I thought you was playing, yelled Hinata, putting her hands up pleadingly. I'll come to get you later then, said Naruto, hugging her before making his way to the gate of the compound. She stood there for a good minute before she just fell to the ground unconscious. Naruto-kun just hugged me was all that was running through her mind. Tower. Tsunade was getting impatient, waiting for the blonde knucklehead to show up. She was walking back and forth from the window to the door. Jiraiya was getting scared for his life. Where the hell are you, Gaki, thought Jiraiya. I'll go look for him, said Jiraiya, running out the window. Get your ass back here, Jiraiya yelled Tsunade, but Jiraiya was already long gone. Naruto was outside the tower about to walk inside when he saw Konohamaru running toward the tower with 3 people running after him. Jiraiya was jumping on a roof when he saw Naruto standing outside the tower. He jumped down and stood beside him. He whacked Naruto on the head and crossed his arms on his chest. What the hell was that for Iro-senin, yelled Naruto, putting his hand on the lump. Tsunade was ready to kill me when you kept her waiting, yelled back the Sannin. Naruto Nai-san, yelled Konohamaru, who jumped and hugged Naruto. Konohamaru Nai-san, said Naruto, softly ruffling his hair. Hey, boss, yelled Yuden and the other girl. Boss, I got something to show you, said Konohamaru, looking at his rival and big brother. Sakura arrived where Naruto and Jiraiya was standing and called to him. His cerulean eyes have been locked in her jade eyes. That's when he noticed the physical change after 3 years of not seeing her. She was a foot shorter than him. She reached on his chest from height, so she needed to raise her head in order to have a good look at him. Her bubblegum pink hair was still short from the last time he saw her. Her face was still gorgeous, just like always, because he has always seen Sakura to be very beautiful. If he had to choose between her and Hinata in beauty, it wouldn't be a hard choice, because Hinata had the cute face and the sexy and amazing body. In other words, she was fully developed. After taking a look at her face, his eyes trailed down to her clothing. She was wearing a short-sleeve red shirt with a zipper on the middle and 2 white circles crossed together on the left corner of the shirt. He knew that the white circle was the symbol of her clan, a pink medical skirt with black spandex shorts, long black sandals. He also noticed that she was wearing long black leather gloves reaching to her elbows. Her leaf headband was on top on her head, which it was colored red like her shirt. Her shuriken hostlers was on her right leg and her kunai hostlers was on the left side of her back. Finally, he needed to notice what she has to offer. He tried to look at her chest to check her breasts. Training with Jiraiya and Kisame had that effect on him, and he didn't see nothing since she was still flat-chested. He wanted to laugh, but he was hiding any kind of emotion right now. Her legs were long and they look hard. Even if he hasn't touched them, he could tell that they have developed some slight muscle structure, meaning that she has been under heavy training. Sakura was looking at her yellow-haired teammate holding back her tears. She was holding the urge to hug him tightly and cry on his chest because she has missed him so much, and he was the only one she was willing to work with to bring Sasuke back. But she held though because she knew very well she had no right to do such thing after everything she has done to him. This is the same person who wanted to make her happy, who tried everything in his power to bring her happiness, and she repaid him by punching and reopened the wound that he got trying to make her happy and rejecting him over and over again. She has realized that he was her most precious person a little too late. Now she needed to pay for the consequences of her actions with guilt, regret and sorrow. Ever since she started her training under Tsunade, she's been thinking about him day and night. She couldn't stop thinking about him when she was training. She always got his images giving her his fox grin, but she didn't want her friends to know that she's been thinking about him, so she hid her feelings, thinking that Naruto was going to be the same old Naruto that she knew back from Team 7. She has taken a big notice to Naruto's physical change after 3 years of endless training. He was taller than her. She needed to raise her head to look straight at him. Because of her petite height, she only reached to his chest. She gazed at his face. His yellow hair was long, reaching to his shoulders. She was amazed how much he resembles the 4th Hokage with exception of the whiskers. His face has changed with all the baby fat gone, completely added with his blue eyes. She admits that his new look made him more mature and very attractive. Another thing she held was the incoming blush that was going to strike her cheeks in embarrassment. However, she stopped her train of thought when she saw the look Naruto was giving her. He was smiling at her, but she could tell from her experience in making fake smile. His smile was fake, hiding his true emotions. Hey Sakura, what's up, said Naruto with a smile on his face. That's Naruto, he didn't put the chan after my name. He's still mad about what happened at the hospital, thought Sakura with a sad look on her face. Welcome back Naruto, you've grown, you're taller than me now said Sakura with a hint of sadness in her voice. Hello, Jiraiya-sama said Sakura looking at the man that she knew was not happy seeing her. Hello there, Haruno-san said Jiraiya not even taking a second glance at the girl. Naruto did I change? Asked Sakura blushing since the yellow head started looking at her. No, knowing you, you're still the same said Naruto in a monotone voice looking at the girl. Look Naruto, I'm sorry about what happened at the hospital, I was just angry at the time, said Naruto still with the sadness in her voice. That's why I said you didn't change a bit said Naruto still in the monotone voice. You said Sakura about to whack him on the head, but Naruto was suddenly behind her smiling. Nah, huh, Sakura said Naruto with his hand still behind his head. Past was the only thing on the head of the Konohamaru core in Sakura. Check it out, Nai-san said Konohamaru. Konohamaru did one hand seal and created a shadow clone, then he did another seal and said Warak no Jutsu. Ana no Kodaoshi sexy technique. Girl companions and himself and the shadow clone transform into two naked young ladies hugging each other. Jiraiya had a big ass smile on his face, and so did Naruto. Konohamaru you're a genius yelled Jiraiya with his mouth wide open. That's a 10 yelled Naruto with his eyes wide open and his mouth hanging. The jutsu was cancelled when the girl on Konohamaru's team whacked him over the head and walked away from him pissed off. Sakura had her angry face on and was walking toward Naruto to hit him, but Naruto didn't even move, he did some hand seals as fast as lightning, then whispered Ninpu. Hari Jizu ninja art. Underworld Gordon spike in hair grew, then turned into spikes which covered his whole body. Sakura didn't see when he did the hand seals, so she swung at him hoping to send him flying across the village, but Jiraiya took him by the legs and jumped away with him before Sakura could see the jutsu. Naruto cancelled the jutsu and his hair went back to its original length. What the hell was that yelled Naruto still being held by Jiraiya. Naruto, you need to go to that office now and don't go showing off your jutsus unless it's a fight, said Jiraiya with a smirk. Oh shit said Naruto running upstairs. I knew it he not that strong thought Sakura. Tower. Naruto ran in the office and found himself breathless by a hug from Tsunade. Naruto hugged her back and she let him go. Naruto stood beside Jiraiya smiling. How you been brat said Tsunade. Okay, Bachan said Naruto. Welcome back, idiot said Tsunade. Thank you old hag replied Naruto. Idiot, said Tsunade. Old hag said Naruto. Idiot, said Tsunade. Old hag said Naruto. Idiot, said Tsunade. Old hag said Naruto. Stop it, you two yelled Shizune glaring at the both of them. Well she started it, said Naruto pointing at Tsunade. Okay, back to the matter at hand. We'll have to see how much you've grown smirked Tsunade. Who do I have to fight said Naruto scratching the back of his head. Shikamaru walked in the door with Temari besides him talking to him. It's you, hey Shikamaru, are you the one that's going to fight me, said Naruto putting his hands behind his head. No, I never heard nothing about no fight, said Shikamaru looking at Naruto. Welcome back, maybe we can watch some cloud sometime said Shikamaru. Sure said Naruto with his usual smile. What's up with a change of clothes said Shikamaru looking at Naruto. My old cloths got messed up during training, so Iro-Senin told me that my mom left this for me said Naruto. Okay, well I only came here to give some reports to the Hokage, not your opponent said Shikamaru giving Tsunade the folder and walking out the room with Temari. To be continued. What if Naruto changes after Sasuke retrieval council bashing? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.